Hello, I'm Dynast Amir.
So I reached out to another friend of mine. I said, look, I need to go on vacation somewhere. Where should I go? He said, go to Africa. And not only am I going to go, I'm going to explore a new country. So I went to Tanzania, South Africa, Namibia, Mali, Senegal, Morocco, Liberia, Namibia, Kenya, the Voodoo Festival in Ouida, Gambia, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire. Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria. It's been a beautiful experience, just learning more about our culture, our indigenous culture. So Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. I'm in search of my roots. In finding that, I would experience my Uhuru, which is freedom.
Till next time, Dynast Amir, I'm out.
Peace, family. I hope all is well. I hope what's today? Monday. I hope your Monday is going well. Real quick. 1 second. Let me send a message out real quick. But I hope everything is going well. Hope you guys are having an awesome Monday. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. Also, go to searchforuhuru.com. Go to searchforuhuru.com and make sure you buy the documentary. Again, make sure you buy the documentary. Please visit searchforuhuru.com. Searchforuhuru.com. Listen, so in order to join the conversation, I put the link in the chat room. There's an actual link that I put into the chat room, and what you'll do, you'll click on the link, and then you'll be able to call in. So let's see here. Again, go to searchforuhuru.com and make sure you buy the documentary. To everybody who has bought the documentary so far, I want to thank you so much. Again, I want to thank you so much for the support. Thank you for buying the documentary. I greatly appreciate it. And also make sure you go to Danfo, DANFO, .Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, DANFO, .Africa if you're interested in joining us on one of our tours. Again, if you're interested in joining us on one of our tours, please visit Danfo.Africa. We are rolling to Sierra Leone November 20th through December 3rd. We are rolling to Sierra Leone November 20th through December 3rd. And we have room, but we don't have room, if that makes sense. Again, we have room, but we don't have room, if that makes sense. And please go to Danfo.Africa. And like I said, citizenship is available to those who qualify as long as you have your African ancestry DNA results. As long as you have your African ancestry DNA results, you are able, and if those results link back to Sierra Leone, you are eligible for citizenship. Let's jump right into it, okay? Let's jump right into the topic. Nury Martinez was caught, I guess, wouldn't necessarily be a hot mic, but I guess the conversation was recorded and it was leaked out. And she was making some very racist remarks in regards to black people, a black child, and she is the head of the city council of LA, and she's a Democrat. And what she said was terrible. But when we go through this article and we read, not just the racist remarks, but some of the other comments that she made, it shows that, number one, this so-called black and brown coalition that a lot of y'all love to talk about, the black and brown coalition that a lot of you guys like to talk about. Listen, I have brown friends. I have friends in the Latino community. But every other group, whether it be Latino, Asian, they want power. All right? They want power. That is what they want. And is that, I'm going to get into that. Remember when Biden said, y'all got to work with the Mexicans, with the Hispanics? See, they want power. They're focused on power by any means necessary. All right? Meanwhile, we just want to get along and I don't know what the hell we want to do. Listen to, support and make excuses for no voting, no fucking. Make excuses for take your booties to the poll. And like I said before, where is the Hispanic version of no voting, no fucking? Where is the Asian version of no voting, no fucking? I'm serious. Everybody else is serious. We're playing around. And I'm going to get into when Joe Biden said, listen, the Hispanics, they're increasing the population. They're going to be the largest minority. Y'all need to. In fact, Joe Biden pretty much told our black delegation that before you come see him, y'all need to connect with the Hispanics. But Hispanics are uniting. They're coming in and they're taking over. They want power. Me and black folks, I don't know what we want. We just want to mess around. We just want to play around. We just want to make excuses. We're not serious. But what disappoints me and what bothers me. Now, when it came to this lady and the comments that she made, black folks were out there. Listen, she needs to resign. She needs to resign. But when Joe Biden told you guys that if you don't vote for him, you're not black, what did you guys do? When Joe Biden told you guys, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe was on the Breakfast Club. He was half asleep during the whole interview with Charlamagne. Then Charlamagne brought up something about Trump. Sleepy Joe woke up. He woke up and he looked into the camera. Like I said, Sleepy Joe was asleep, dozing off during the whole interview with Joe Biden. I mean, with Charlamagne the God. He was dozing off during the whole interview. Charlamagne mentioned something about voting for Trump. Sleepy Joe woke up. He woke up, leaned into the camera, and said, look, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. In fact, hold on. Let's do this. Let's just play the video. Let's just play the video. Hold on. We've played this before, and I know we've played this a lot. And we've played this often. But again, it's the selective outrage, right? It started with Kanye West. JV, you can call in. What am I wrong about? You can call in. And listen, I think a lot of you guys who disagree, all of you, everyone who disagrees with me in the chat, you are more than welcome to. I'll put the link in the chat room. You can click on the link and call in. Give me a second. No, but the point is, when Joe Biden told you guys, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, he didn't say that to the Hispanic community. He never said to the Hispanic community, if you don't vote for me, you're not Hispanic. He didn't say that to the Asian community. He said that to y'all. He said that to y'all. And y'all still voted for him. Y'all still strolled to the polls, took your booties to the polls. Now you got this no voting, no bucking. So you continue to allow yourselves to get disrespected. And thank you. Joe Biden has a long history of racism and saying stuff out of pocket about the black community. But you guys give it a pass. But let's play this video.
All the way in his mouth.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
In an interview with the Breakfast Club co-host Charlemagne, the presidential hopeful made an egregious comment that has people questioning if he's worthy of their vote. Towards the end of the almost 20-minute interview, Charlemagne touched on an issue of great concern. Who will be Joe's running mate?
Black people saved your political life in the primaries this year. They have things they want from you, and one of them is a black woman running mate. What do you say to them?
What I say to them is that I'm not acknowledging anybody who is being considered, but I guarantee you there are multiple black women being considered. Multiple.
Charlemagne had a follow-up question, but got interrupted by someone off camera saying their time was up. The radio host instead invited Biden to come back, but Joe's response was off-putting.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
The comment may have
No, I needed to make sure you guys heard that. We continually allow ourselves to get disrespected, and we got black people, specifically black so-called thought leaders, who continue to make excuses for this type of behavior. Hold on, let's play it one more time. We're gonna play it one more time. I want you guys to hear this one more time.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
the comment may
No, I'm gonna play it one more time.
Questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
the comment
And you know what black folks did after he made that comment? You want to know what black folks immediately did? The collective, you know, even the black intellectuals and, you know, the black so-called thought leaders. Do you want to know what they did after he made that comment? They went and voted for the guy. They went and voted for the guy. And not only did they go out and voted for him, not only did they go out and vote for him, they then bragged on how they saved the Democratic Party. They bragged on how they saved Joe Biden's political career. They bragged on how they made, if it wasn't for them, Joe Biden wouldn't be president. In record numbers. Again, in record numbers. Once again, after Joe Biden made that statement, in record numbers, black folks went out en masse and voted for this guy. And not only that, hold on one second. Not only that, this is what he did in return. This is what you guys get in return. Hold on, I'm gonna play Phil's video. Phil, let me use your video. Don't flag me, Phil. Phil, don't flag me.
Joe Biden.
Hold on, let me find this video. 1 second. Here we go. We'll just play this real quick. We'll play this video right here.
I know that, but this is going to really be hard. This is going to really, Dad. Remember, Dad, home base. It ain't worth the job if I can't say what I believe. I didn't want to run this time. I ran this time because of the racist son of a gun who was president of the United States of America. That's why I ran. And you remember, a lot of you told me talking about the soul of America was going over people's heads. They didn't know what we're talking about. The words of a president matter. What a president says matters. And you've never seen and see 3 or 4 out of 7 commercials be biracial commercials. What do you think, guys, huh?
For momentum. And one of the things I love that I've seen so far.
To me, first and last person in the room. And I was standing down on the platform, 10 up, and all these people down there. And off to my left, the north, the east side, was completely up, and all these people down there. And off to my left, the north, the east side, was completely leveled. Matters that leaders lead Avenue and hoods. Complete regalia, having nothing to do with African Americans. Avenue and hoods. Complete regalia, having nothing.
Tone and message. Communities, police departments. These are actions that you expand to live.
This year, so many quarters now, world that it's almost forgotten history now because a lot of.
Yeah, listen, I was looking for when Joe pretty much told black folks, listen, before y'all come see me, y'all need to give the Hispanic community before you come see me. I was trying to find that part. Listen, I'm going to find that part. But listen, black people aren't serious. Latinos want power. Asians want power. Black folks want no voting, no fucking. Listen, it's toward the end.
And so I wish I had more time. Maybe we can have another one of these meetings before we actually get sworn in or in that area to go into, or maybe I respond to you in writing on a number of stuff you raised, but I will get back to you on the detail. But I promise you, Ms. Campbell, if you read the entirety of my position, you'll know that I've never waffled on what you're talking about. Never. And Kristen, you know my view on the judiciary, the Voting Rights Act, what we have to do to restore it. But we got to have to do it because we got to convince people. Absolute last point. One of the things I'd be concerned about, just as was pointed out to me that you wanted me to be concerned, Derek, I think it was you said it, about, dealing with Vilsack in terms of agriculture. Well, first of all, you'll learn more about Vilsack's record, but my point is this. I don't think we should make that a big issue going into before January 5th, when the election takes place down in Georgia. But I also don't think we should get too far ahead of ourselves on dealing with police reform in that, because they've already labeled us as being defund the police.
Listen, no police reform is coming. Listen, no police reform is coming at all. It's not coming.
Anything we put forward in terms of the organizational structure to change policing, which I promise you will occur. Promise you. Just think to yourself and give me advice whether we should do that before January 5th, because that's how they beat the living hell out of us across the country, saying that we're talking about defunding the police. We're not. We're talking about holding them accountable. We're talking about giving them money to do the right things. We're talking about putting more psychologists and psychiatrists on the telephones when the 911 calls through. We're talking about spending money to enable them to do their jobs better, not more, with more force, with less force and more understanding. But that's, I just raise it with you to think about. How much do we push between now and January 5th? We need those 2 seats about police reform, but I guarantee you there will be a full-blown commission. I guarantee you it's.
Yeah, you guys aren't getting any police reform. You're not getting it. Ice Cube, and I keep bringing this up, the rapper Ice Cube. Ice Cube said, listen, I have a plan for Black America. Let's leverage our vote and see what we can get for the black vote. You know what Black folks said? Ice Cube, be quiet. He said, Ice Cube, be quiet. They tried to shut Ice Cube down. Again, Ice Cube said, I have a plan for Black America. You know what Black folks told Ice Cube? Listen, Ice Cube had the great idea. Let's not just give away our vote. Let's try to leverage it. You know what Black people told Ice Cube? No. Sit down. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. It's just, again, we want dysfunction. We want to make excuses for everything. Latinos want power. Black folks want to make excuses why Black men with their family, while a Black man who was eating a waffle with his family gets killed by another Black family in a Black-owned restaurant. That's what we're doing. Latinos are jockeying for power. Black people are making excuses why in the year 2022, Black men cannot go 24 hours without shooting each other. That's what's going on. And listen, I was trying to find the clip during this sit down that Biden was having with our selected, well, we didn't select them, our selected leaders, our leadership, our so-called misleadership, misleadership, where he pretty much said, listen, you guys got to deal with the Hispanics. Joe Biden said that. Listen, that's who you guys need to deal with. I'm not far enough. Amina, listen, what minute mark is it? Hold on, what minute mark is it?
It's a major, major things done. Anyway, I'm going to yield to my vice president, and she can correct all the mistakes I made. But I want to talk to you, and with your permission, since I may not get you all together, to pick up the phone and call each of you individually over the next several weeks on the stuff each of you raised, because I care deeply about what you're talking about. Kamala?
Okay, I know you have to leave soon. Mark, you started the conversation expressing what.
Why in the hell is Biden calling Al Sharpton? Why is Biden calling Al Sharpton? Now, who selected Al Sharpton to represent us? Why is Biden calling Al Sharpton? So I'm gonna call each of you guys individually. Does anyone in the chat room know anyone on this panel? I think, is that Karen Bass at the top? That's Al Sharpton. But why is Joe Biden calling Al Sharpton?
The spirit of this conversation as the first, we need to work out the details on the instead about work that actually has an impact.
And see 3 or 4 out of 7 commercials be biracial commercials. What do you think, guys, huh?
Less, but it is good to know that that's how we're going to proceed, and that at this early date, even before the inauguration, that this has happened. And so let's just come up with a plan and a roadmap for how we.
Mark, you're going to be angry with me. I
I
want to say one more thing. I am incredibly optimistic. Let me tell you why. I'm incredibly optimistic because society is changing. The Z generation and young millennials are changing. Now, you're not going to maybe agree with what I'm about to say, but take a look at what is happening. 15 years ago, could you turn on the television and see 3 or 4 out of 7 commercials be biracial commercials?
Here we go. Here goes the tangible, y'all. Y'all got biracial commercials. The black community got biracial commercials. That's your guys' tangible. Biracial commercials. You can't make this up. Please tell me when Joe Biden was sitting down with the Hispanic caucus, the Asian caucus, the Indian caucus, if one exists, that he was saying, hey, listen, guys, a win for your guys' community are biracial commercials. You can't listen. You cannot make this ish up. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. I'm trying to find a part in the biracial commercials. But I'm trying to find the part in the in this video where Joe Biden was like, listen, y'all, I appreciate you guys saving my election, or I appreciate you guys saving my campaign. I appreciate the black community for doing everything that you did to get me into office, but y'all got to work with the Hispanics. I'm sorry.
What do you think, guys, huh? What do you think? You want to know where society's going? Watch entertainment. Watch the profit motive. Why are these commercials so?
Again, you guys are nothing but entertainment. Nothing but entertainment. He said, watch entertainment if you want to know where society is going. And if that's the case, society is going in the fucking... Society is going... Society is trash. That's where it's going. See, that's how they engage you guys. They only engage you guys through entertainment. Here you go. Here's proof. Here's proof. They only engage you guys through entertainment, and black people accept this stuff. Meanwhile, Latinos and other groups are trying to get power. Do you think Latinos give a damn about some interracial commercials? Do you think the Asian community gives a damn about interracial commercials? 114.39? Okay, I appreciate it. Do you think the Asian community gives a damn about interracial commercials? This is how they speak to the black community. And we got so-called black, our black thought leaders who will sit there and just nod their head and act like Joe Biden is being freaking deep, and that's moving moving us forward. Interracial commercials and entertainment. That's your guys' win. That's what you guys get. So the black agenda is being pushed forward through entertainment and commercials. You can't make this up. So the black community is moving the needle forward through entertainment and commercials.
My whole life, most of you. I've worked in my whole life, most of you. I've been around doing this for a long, long time. I don't always get it right, but I always take responsibility. When I get it wrong, I acknowledge I got it wrong. But my overarching objective, if we cannot make significant progress on racial equity, this country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do. My whole life, most of you. I've worked. We cannot make significant progress on racial equity. This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do in terms of raw numbers.
You guys just heard it. And these are the type of Hispanics we got to work with right here. These are the type of Hispanics that we have to work with. All right. But they're not going. Here we go. I'm sorry. Let me back up. They don't want to work with you. They are looking for power. They want power, not to work with you. They want power. But if you think what Nury Martinez said is just limited to Nury Martinez, you're out of your mind. Again, if you think what Nury Martinez said, her racist comments in regards to gerrymandering, redistricting, gerrymandering, if you think that what she said is just limited to her in a Hispanic Democratic community, you're out of your mind. They want power. We just want to get along. They want power. We want no voting, no fucking, and making excuses for it. They want power. Ice Cube comes along and says, hey, let's see what we could get for our vote. Black folks say no. Shut up, Ice Cube. They want power. We want, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. They want power. Donald Trump said, hey, look, I got $500 billion for you guys. What you want to do? Black folks said, no, Donald Trump, you're trying to trick us. Let's go vote for the guy that says, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. This is what we're dealing with. So, guys, listen, I'm going to put the link in the chat room, and we're discussing Nury Martinez's racist remarks. And again, she's a Democrat. She's a Democrat, okay? She's a Democrat. And what we're told is that the Republican Party, those white racist Republicans, are trying to remove us and gerrymander us and take our vote away, take away our voting rights, take all of our rights away, and, you know. But this was a Democrat that was trying to do this to black people in her own party. That's what she said. Literally, you have Democrats who are trying to take away your rights as a black voter, a black person, but you guys just think for some reason it's only the Republicans. Do I believe that Donald Trump would have given us $500 billion? What do you have to lose? What did you have to lose? Again, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Listen, links. I'm gonna put links in the chat room if you want to call in and add the conversation. Link is in the chat room. But like I said, Latinos want power. We want to play around and continue to be disrespected and joke around about it and make excuses for it. Links in the chat room. Call in. Somebody asked, where was the $5 billion during the 4 years he was president? Y'all didn't want to sit down with Donald Trump. For 4 years, all black people did was complain about Donald Trump and whatever white liberals told them to complain about. Oh, Russian collusion. You guys did that for 4 straight years, and you guys are doing it now. Oh, his taxes. He lied on his taxes. That's all you guys did, was sit here and complain about Donald Trump for 4 straight years. That's all you guys did. Complain about Donald Trump for 4 straight years. That's all you guys did. You guys didn't want nothing. Exactly. Sound like a broken record for 4 years straight. Complain and whine. You know, collusion. Him and Putin. Whatever MSNBC told you guys to say, whatever CNN told you guys to say, that's what you guys did for 4 straight years. Amina, go ahead.
Hi, Dinus. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Okay. It started at 1:11:08.
I already played it. I played
Oh,
it
you
already.
played it already. Okay,
Yeah.
because that's where it started. It started there, and he went like, okay, oh no, I can't tell you about the Black people I'm appointing, and then he started going into about the Hispanics that he's going to appoint, and he's like, I don't care if y'all don't like it or not, I'm doing it. I don't care what y'all say.
No, we got to watch that part because we didn't watch that part. We just got to the part where he said that Black people need to sit down with Hispanics because they're going to be the majority.
Yeah, but you got to start there because that's his.
Okay,
build
let's
up.
do this. We're gonna do that right now. Hold on.
Go to 1:11:08. He talks about a woman named Cece.
You said 1:11.
Yeah, 1:11:08.
All right, hold on.
Just what we're doing in addition to the people we've already named. You're going to see people. Look, and Cecilia Rouse, Cece, she is a significant player. That's a serious position. But it's like when I name her, well, I don't know if that counts. I'm not so sure. Well, if it doesn't count for y'all, well, the hell with y'all. But because it's real. It's real. So all I'm saying.
Boy, did he say if it don't count for y'all, hell with y'all?
That's what he said, Dinus. I mean,
hold on. Did he say if it don't count for y'all, hell with y'all?
That's what he just said. I mean, can't get more crystal clear than that. And what did they all say? They said nothing. Even Sharpton kept his mouth shut. Moriarty, whatever his name is.
Rewind that part. Hold on, I gotta rewind that part.
That's where it started.
Janet Yellen, but at number 2 is Wally Adeyemo, an African American, who is the number 2 guy with real authority at that department. Look underneath just what we're doing in addition to the people we've already named. You're going to see people. Look, and Cecilia Rouse, Cece, she is a significant player. That's a serious position. But it's like when I name her, well, I don't know if that counts. I'm not so sure. Well, if it doesn't count for y'all, well, the hell with y'all. But
right? Dinus. It started there, and they kept their mouth shut. It was just so in your face, I'm not trying to please people, and they just looking dumbfounded.
Listen. I gotta play it one more time. Listen, I gotta play it.
How'd you miss that? How did you miss that?
I gotta play it one more time, boy.
Insisted that we keep a record on everything that happened since then. Guys, guess what I'm saying, guys, is, I mean what I say. The hard part here is, Cecilia Rouse, Cece, she is a significant player. That's a serious position. But it's like when I name her, well, I don't know if that counts. I'm not so sure. Well, if it doesn't count for y'all, well, the hell with y'all. But because it's real. It's real. So
I don't know, Dinus. It can't get any more glaring than that. And these are the most astute.
This is the most astute
height of the black bourgeoisie, with the exception of the Asian woman who is Shamla Harris's assistant. The Asian Indian woman who is Shamla Harris's assistant. I mean, you can't get more glaring than that. I mean, what else do you need? Somebody telling you.
Hold on, Alan. You voted for him too, though, Alan. You voted for him.
I don't know.
Oh shoot.
So if you still, and someone telling you, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, and you turn around and you still vote for him, who's boo-boo the fool? I'm flabbergasted. It's not, it really is not funny. It's quite
This
sad.
shit is fun. Listen, this is funny. This is hilarious.
How is that funny?
Hold on, right? Exactly. This is black excellence. This right here, you guys, is black excellence.
That's what I just said. So this is the black bourgeoisie who have made it, who achieved the the Ivy League ceiling. They've achieved beyond that,
Hold on, I gotta call somebody.
and they're established. So he's telling them to their face. The head of the NAA, former Moriarty. He was
Hold on, well, keep going. I'm gonna call somebody.
It's crazy. It's just like, if y'all are taking it.
Hold on one second. Professor Davis. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Professor Davis,
Yes,
I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. If you're watching the show, I need you to call in and listen to something. This is very important.
Okay.
Okay, so listen, Professor Davis, I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. I need you to call in and listen to this. I want you to explain this from your expertise, because you're an expert in like black black politic relations. You're an expert. So I need you to explain this. Please call in, Professor Davis. Please call in right now. Please do. I want you to explain this. Huh?
What's the topic?
We're talking about this. So we're on Joe Biden right now in his relationship with the black community and the black politics. But the original topic was the racist Nury Martinez, who was the head of the LA City Council, who made those racist remarks. But listen, I need you to explain this, because this is our most brightest in black society here. And I know you have like a connection to them. So I just need you to come in and explain what's going on here.
Well, okay. Dennis, quick question. Who's on your show today?
Listen, I will kick them all off. Listen, you will not be interrupted, Professor Davis. The floor is going to be yours.
You don't have that truck driver up there, do you?
No, okay, listen. Listen, you will have, the floor is yours, Professor. I need you to call in. I need you to explain this.
By the way, where did you send that, Dennis?
I put it. It's in the chat room of the show. But if you want me to, I can see the link.
Well, you can send it to me via WhatsApp.
Okay, I'm gonna do it right now. I need you to call in.
All right.
Bye.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. Wow. It's just more of the same. It's just more of the same. And like Karen Bass, all of these people, they're all one and the same. And they have all accepted 30 shekels of silver, I have declared. And they are just saying, screw the rest of Black America. I'm going for self and what I can achieve and what I can amass, and screw everybody else. And I believe that this is why we have not progressed further as a people, in part. It's not solely on their shoulders. We have a lot, that we have to be accountable to. But those that we put into office thinking, okay, they're Black, they're going to advocate for us as a people. No, you can't just put Black people in positions and just think they're going to do the flip. And they've done it. They've only aligned their own pockets. So we can't just do, Black respectability and just putting them into office thinking that they're going to advocate for us. That doesn't work any longer. Anyway.
Hold on. Let me send this link to Professor Davis. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta send this to Professor Davis. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me give me a second, guys. All right, so guys, when Professor Davis comes on, I am going to remove everybody from the panel.
I'll click off now, Dynast.
Yeah, no. You can stay on. Well, okay. If you want to click off. Let me bring on Josh. And then the minute Professor Davis comes on, I'm gonna remove everybody. All right, go ahead, Josh. Unmute yourself.
All right, what's up, Dynast? You can hear me all right?
You're loud and clear.
Cool. So just a quick question. So I do remember you saying, I think in like a previous stream, that it was basically like over for Black America. Now, my question to you is that also apply to like the entire diaspora as a whole, or like are there areas within that diaspora that are like
No,
more, I guess, hopeful?
I just think as a collective, we're done. Like, I mean, we're done. If this is the people who are representing us, and this dude says to the hell with y'all, and these people are just sitting there dumbfounded, you know, I mean, it's a wrap. Because again, the Joe Biden would not speak to any other group of people, their so-called leadership, in this type of way. It won't happen. So I think as a collective, we're done. I mean, there'll be pockets and stories and examples of Black individual successes amongst Black people, but for the most part, we're done. We're done.
Yeah, because that's just crazy, man. And like,
I mean, the dude said, "The hell with y'all."
I mean, I was already tracking Joe Biden's a fool. I mean, it's not hard to tell. But my thing is, like, are my children going to have to grow up and like kind of be around? Because the thing is, like, you know,
It's gonna
white
be. It's
people.
gonna be. But listen to where. I mean, just when we listen to this conversation. All right, he brought up how pretty much a tangible for Black people is biracial commercials, entertainment. If you don't like what I got to say or what I did, the hell with y'all. And then y'all need to give it to Hispanics. It's done. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
That is wild. But I mean, the thing is, though, like the average person, like they're not really even tracking like what's going on. So they're just gonna go with
Josh.
whatever.
No, I disagree. They are. It's just our people are so freaking brainwashed. I don't know what it is. They're so brainwashed
I
that they
mean,
will
you
make
just said it
excuses for
though,
this stuff.
right? I mean, they're brain because the propaganda is like everywhere and it's so
But
strong that it's
better
basically,
listen. The guy
yeah.
came on TV and was like, "You don't vote for me, you not Black." Lean into the camera. What else do you need? What else do you need to know?
I mean, it's crazy, man. Like, I don't know what's wrong with these guys out here, bro. I mean, like you said, they're brainwashed. That's what it is. So, I mean, the only way I can see this kind of like, you know, going in any kind of positive direction is like having your own, I guess, media network. But that's also another, you know, whole big
They
fight that you
they
have to do.
they don't want that. I mean, they want to be on CNN, MSNBC. They want to be recognized because the issue with having our own media network is a lot of these people, they don't want our own media network because it doesn't equal or to equate to white validation.
That's true, but I'll say this, right? I mean, in today's world, basically, it's kind of set up to where like all the other races, like Chinese and like Indians and what else, have basically aligned themselves with white people because they've seen that Black people are just kind of like going for the bullshit, right? But I mean, I guess maybe if there's a way to basically have a apparatus of leadership kind of rise up and kind of, you know, basically demonstrate that they're competent. I mean, maybe we can like break that up somehow. I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm just kind of trying to throw out ideas out here, you know. You get what I'm saying?
Bro, like I said, and we had the show yesterday, and go back to Africa was pretty much like what you guys doing for the community. And I know Larry was like, Dynast, what do you have any solutions? I don't have any. I don't have any solutions. I don't have any solutions at all. It's point the solution conversation right now is pointless. I think the solution conversation should be held between Black people. I mean, we can have it on here once in a while or offline. Like like-minded people are going to come together and give solutions. Because for some reason, whenever Black people have solutions for the collective, Black people as a collective just reject them. Reject it. And you saw that with Ice Cube, Claude Anderson. I got people who are trying to, I don't agree with everything Claude Anderson says, but what he's saying makes the most sense. You got Black people in Black society who completely disagree with him.
I mean, they just got to get left behind, my guy.
Basically, if it's not a solution coming directly from the Democratic Party, they don't want it.
I mean, I know people like that myself, to be honest, but like, I mean, like I said, bro, I mean, they're pretty much like drones, like NPCs. Like they're just gonna do what they're told. So, I mean, If they're not down with the program, then they got to get left behind. That's what it is, you know.
I mean, that's what it is. Like, literally, if it's not coming from the Democratic Party, it's not credible.
It's crazy out here, bro. Is that the professor? I guess.
I don't think so. Pro-black politics. Unmute yourself. That's not Professor Davis. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No. Peace. How y'all feeling, man? Peace to everybody.
Pretty good.
Just to comment on the topic, I don't think we should be surprised by the comments or by Joe Biden's comments. You know, he this what he do. Like he bitch, like you saying. He if you ain't black, I mean you ain't black if you don't vote for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that. He been like that, right? But the brother was saying, Josh just now was saying, like, if there was a way for us to like create an apparatus for us to have some type of vote, you know what I mean? And it is like that exists, and if we could do that with blockchain technology, you know what I'm saying? And like everything y'all saying, I agree 100% with. We don't have no leadership. The people that's up there representing us, we didn't vote for, and that's the problem. Like we are like outside of streams like this, you probably, you know, you among it's probably just you that's focused on all content like this, Pan-Africanism. You got people from all over the world jumping on here. Like this the type of content we need millions and millions of people seeing, but we can't do that unless we come together to push it. And that's what the blockchain technology allow people to do, you know what I mean? And it's a lot of like that's what I think we need to be focusing on, because it do allow us to vote, you know, and there's ways to make memberships and even, you know, it could be gated. You know what I mean? So don't, like, we can control the voting. Not anybody could jump in and vote. Like, it's a lot of things that we could do to come together. You know, it just takes, we gotta inform ourselves on how to, you know, create wallets and things of that nature, and just come together, man. We gotta choose our leaders. Like, these elections matter, but us picking people to represent us matter more right now, because we don't got nobody that represent us that really speaks. Like, you know, they don't really speak for the people. These people speak for their job position.
Yeah, that's facts, man. And then, like, another thing on that, you also need like a compelling narrative to kind of like push behind that, because a lot of these like rich like black billionaires, they know exactly what's going on, but like they just don't care about it, you know? Like, they could help out the situation and like build infrastructure, but like they literally just don't give a fuck. So
hold on, somebody is go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
But yeah, I was just saying, like, basically there needs to be like a compelling narrative coupled with that technology, and then I think we can actually move forward, because a lot of people in positions of power, like black billionaires, black millionaires, they know what the problem is. They're aware of what's going on, and they can actually help, but like they just don't give a fuck, because like they don't see anybody like actually in the pole position stepping up and being like, hey, this is the code. This is like the new kind of culture that we're like setting up, and this is what the agenda is. So that's also another aspect we gotta like think about.
Go ahead, Theo. That Ben, you got a lot of background noise, brother. Go ahead, Theo.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to say, you hear the word "we" a lot, right? But I think "we" only applies where interest lies. And I don't think, even though being black lends to general implications and consequences, it doesn't necessarily lend to the same circumstance for everyone. And because the circumstance for everyone isn't the same, you're not going to have the same interest. So, as you know, and it's often said on the show, there is no black monolith, right? So I know the narrative or the objective
there's a black monolith. There is a black monolith.
What's that?
The majority of us vote for the Democratic Party. That's the monolith.
Well, right. Going to the polls, right? But I'm not sure that everyone actually votes in their interest, right? I think people follow. So that happens. People are influenced. That happens, but I'm not sure that everyone actually analyzes their circumstances thoroughly and understands their circumstances thoroughly to the point that they know the solutions to their circumstances in a way that allows them to vote in their interest, right? Whether they vote Republican or Democrat, right? Because we all exist in so many different circumstances, even though, we do have the same experience in the sense that we are affected by being Black as a minority in the United States of America. But even that's limited, right? There are so many other things that are consequence to our everyday lives that isn't necessarily hindered or solved by being Black, right? And so because of that, those unique differences that happen between us are approached differently by different individuals or groups in different places. So the weed thing is always going to be a hard push as far as being Black goes overall, I think, especially these days, with social media. And this is why right now, even though you're saying most people vote, Black folks vote Democrat, you see the breakdown more nowadays.
All right, go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I just kind of I'm just gonna echo some of the things that you've been saying. That we don't vote for our own interests. We don't even understand how to do politics, and that's the sad part. Ice Cube was literally put his reputation on the line to teach us how to do politics like everybody else, and we refuse to do it because we would rather hitch our wagon to a party that's done nothing for us but did something for us 60 years ago, and we'll just go ahead and roll with that. And if you don't do that, you're not Black. That I knew Black people who literally agreed with President Joe Biden when he said that, saying, "Well, he's right. You're not Black if you vote for Trump and not him." That is how brainwashed we are. That's the reason why I'm so excited about the new BLM documentary coming out that Candace Owens is doing, because I think that would be the kind of thing that would highlight some of the issues that we're talking about. How white liberals use us as a Trojan horse for everything, and yet don't help us elevate in any way, shape, or form. We need to do something different, and we can't continue to go down this road because it's not productive. And at this rate, everybody's going to pass us, not just the Latinos, everybody.
So I had a quick question on that, just to comment. So I guess what is the solution, I guess, on that end? Is that basically becoming a Republican? Is that the gist of it?
No, it's not.
Listen, I'm voting Republican all the way down. I'm checking every every box that has an R next to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking it. I'm voting Republican all the way down the line.
Yeah. Hey, there's a reason for that too, Dynast, because the thing is, like I told you, Black people don't act when they're comfortable. We don't talk about politics or anything when there's a Democrat in power. When Trump was in power, Black people were really tuned in, focused on what's going on. Like I said, I've seen Black people talk about the House, the Senate races.
I disagree. And the
Yeah,
reason why I disagree,
you think so?
I'll tell you why I disagree. They were only tuned in. This is what Black folks were talking about when Trump was in office. Russian collusion. Professor Davis here, guys. Let me answer this question. I'm gonna let Professor Davis off. Russian collusion. Trump's tax returns. That's all they were talking about. And how to get rid of it. And Donald Trump said that he told the white supremacists to stand down and be, or whatever he was saying in regards to what happened in Blacksburg in Virginia, at Virginia Tech or Virginia. I'm sorry, University of Virginia. That's all Black folks were talking about.
But can you admit? Okay, and yeah, I agree. We still had a large contingent of them still sleeping. But could you agree that anger? Because I've seen some Black people compare to what the Democrats pander to them and, see what Trump is doing where they actually moved away from the Democrat Party, albeit it was at a slow rate. But I just do believe that even though they were talking about that dumb stuff, some of it was just actually waking up to what's going on in the government. And I just feel like the country as a whole, now outside of Black people, we're paying a bit more attention to what's going on politically because of the hatred for Trump. And I feel like that's the only way a change and revolution is
I
going
don't
to
think
take
so.
place.
They were paying attention to what was on MSNBC and CNN, what Joy Reid was saying, and Rachel Maddow. That's what they're paying attention to. But listen, I'm gonna remove everybody from the panel real quick, and I'm gonna bring on Professor Davis. Professor Davis, how are you?
Dinus, good afternoon. I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Professor Davis, we're gonna play this clip real quick.
Sure.
Joe Biden, when he was sitting down with, the cream of the crop of Black society. Okay. We're gonna play this clip, and I need to get your response. Is this how Joe Biden talks to the cream of the crop, the most educated of Black society? Hold on, let me play this, Professor Davis. I need your feedback on it, Professor Davis, because your opinion of this matters. Because this was just pretty sad. Hold on. Let me.
Of people we've already named. You're going to see people. Look, and Cecilia Rouse, Cece, she is a significant player. That's a serious position. But it's like when I name it, well, I don't know whether that counts. I'm not so sure. Well, if it doesn't count for y'all, well, the hell with y'all. But because it's real.
I mean, he told okay, let me ask you this, Professor Davis. Do you think Joe Biden speaks in this type of manner to, the most highly educated in Hispanic society or Asian society, as far as the hell with y'all? Will he say that to them, Professor Davis?
Let me ask, was this during the
hello? Yeah, went out.
Someone from the Supreme Court. This is an old video, right?
Right. It's from right after he got elected.
Right. So Professor Eddie Glott basically said that that to a degree, Black Americans are a captured electorate, and that is, there is some degree of truth about that. I do think that many, if you will, elite African Americans need to be a bit more political savvy and to really look out for the needs of their constituents. But I do know, because I worked in Washington, D.C. for many years, that behind closed doors, oftentimes this is how politicians speak. So, am I surprised by the tone of what President Biden said? No, not at all. And I think he has. I guess he feels a sense of how do I say this? I think he feels at ease, if you will, with a lot of African Americans, because there's a long history with Blacks and Democrats and Joe Biden and so on and so forth. But I do think that that Black elected officials really need to think through what they want done for their constituents, and not be afraid to say it to President Biden. Was this the right tone? No. Was the tone inappropriate? I think so. But again, I mean, if you work in Washington, D.C. long enough, you'll see that these types of things do happen behind closed doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Biden also mentioned that how interracial commercials on television shows progress in society, and that's a win. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, in terms of those interracial relationships, I mean, those are personal choices that folks make. That's whatever your lifestyle is. But look, for me, I would like to see stronger Black families, stronger communities. Period. And so I think that there's still a lot of work that we need to do. I really feel that the issues of Black Americans have not been fully addressed, not since our inception in this country. I often tell folks that Black Americans are probably the most distinct population within the context of the American experience because, and I mean foundational Black Americans, America's domestic Black population. And the reason that I say that is that African Americans are the only group of people in this country that have had to endure some 450 years of terror, 250 years of enslavement, 100 years of Jim Crow, decades of bad public policy decisions which were disrupted to healthy Black family development, redlining, mass incarceration, etc., just to be recognized as citizens. And still, we have not been fully recognized in this country. So there's a lot of work to be done as it relates to the history of a people who've been marginalized.
Okay. All right. But I mean, do you think Joe Biden will bring up, interracial commercials or commercials with that feature interracial couples in them?
Well,
you think he'll bring that up as a win to like other groups of people?
I think that again, Black Americans have a unique history as opposed to other groups of people, and so probably not within the same context because, again, we are the product of forced migration to this country, and we're anchored in the entire country differently from other groups of people. So to answer your question specifically, no, because if you're Hispanic American, or even if you're from the Caribbean or from Africa, well, you decided to come to America voluntarily, and so it's really a different history, completely different.
And last question, Professor Davis. I know you're a busy guy. Somebody brought up a great point in the chat room. Of this type of talk, if this type of talk is being done behind closed doors, then why is it being done publicly with these Black folks?
Well, again, politics is everything, and so listen, politicians, what do they want? They want money and votes, right? And I think that unfortunately, how do I say this? We're in a place where the Republicans, President Trump, he was unconventional, and basically he's viewed by many as being an embarrassment to the U.S. President Biden is more of a mainstream politician that people can tend to deal with because he's more typical. But just to answer your question, would you repeat that question again? I want to make sure that
the question was if conversations like this in regards to what Joe Biden said and his tone he said to this group of so-called Black intellectuals, if conversations like this happen behind closed doors, or the way that Joe Biden is speaking to this panel, if they talk like this behind closed doors, why is Joe Biden talking to the Black community like this in public?
Yeah, there's a level of, if you will, comfort that he feels, I think, with the older Black politicians who have been Democratic. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. However, I do feel that many of the younger African American or Black Americans are more politically astute, and so they're looking for new solutions to what no longer works. A lot of these people that you have in your silhouette here are kind of outdated in terms of their ideas, and so the younger generation of Black.
So why is Biden like? I see Al Sharpton here. I mean, come on, like Al Sharpton, Professor Davis.
Well,
Al Sharpton.
Well, they're more or less the same generation. I mean, these are people that Biden know, and Sharpton, he knows Biden and these types of things, and so they're speaking to their own folks. And like I say, with the new Black media, those folks are basically kind of shaking things up. They really are, and they're saying, "Wait a minute here, this may have worked for my parents or my grandparents, but this is no longer going to work for me." And they're looking for solutions for solutions for the African American community. And there are a lot of issues. And again, these issues go back to the history of the country, the foundation of the country, which have never been fully addressed. And so there's a lot of work that we need to do. And I think that where we are now, things are a lot of things are happening all at once, and I'm just hoping, that as we move forward as a nation, that the younger population, basically take the bull by the horns and actually move us in a different direction, in a direction of freedom and opportunity and self-determination for the next generation of Black Americans.
So basically, Joe Biden has a black card. He gets a pass.
Well,
he gets.
I think that for those folks who are in office, they look at former President Trump and they look at Biden, and honestly, some of these folks are looking at the bigger picture or the macro picture in terms of what America looks like from the outside. Trump, unfortunately, as I mentioned to you before, was very, very unconventional. I mean, he was not a politician. Biden has been in office for 50 years. He knows world leaders. He's more malleable. He's more presentable to, if you will, to the international community, and I would probably say by and large to most Americans. President Trump was he was a lightning rod for a lot of people.
Right, but so, let me ask you this, Professor Des, not to cut you off. Do you think on an international level that even though people didn't like Trump, from what I observed, it seems like Trump got more respect versus Biden on the international from the leaders? Like they didn't like Trump, but they wouldn't cross him or try him. Versus and we saw the situation in Saudi Arabia with Biden, how they just don't. Nobody really respects Biden. It's just like whatever.
I think that many of the international community saw Trump as unpredictable, and so they were like, okay, I mean, what's this guy going to do? We really don't know who and what he is. Biden's been around for a long time. Biden is viewed as an internationalist or a globalist, if you will, and so I think that people, he's more predictable, because he's been in Congress, he's been in government for 50 years, and so people know what to expect with him. And so he tends to be a bit more, if you will, easier to get along with. Trump, well, who is this guy? I mean, and is he all there? And I think that's a part of it.
Last question. So, have you been keeping up with what's going on in LA with the councilwoman?
I have not. I heard something about some Hispanic council people were, I don't know. What is it? They said they were.
Right. So Nury Martinez, she's a Hispanic Democrat councilwoman. She made racist remarks.
Yeah.
And then also, too, she was trying to redistrict and gerrymander, which would affect the Black vote.
Yeah.
She's a Democrat. And then Joe Biden, in the same video, he said, listen, the next largest group after white people are Hispanics and Black people. You guys need to partner with them. Do you think Latinos want power, or are they actually going to be in the best interest of Black people as far as partner?
Well, I think that, the bottom line is that every group of people want some degree of power and influence. Of course, in the most powerful country in the world, I get it. I will say this about California, which I lived there years ago, back in the 90s, and it's an interesting state. Karen Bass, whether you like her or not, will probably be the next mayor of Los Angeles. And what I find interesting about that is that the Black population is small. I think it's between 8 and 10% of the state's population or less.
It's like 9%.
And what I find interesting about it is that there's a sizable number of Black mayors in major cities, and and I guess it speaks to the unique nature of California. But I will say this: I do think the remarks of the Hispanic city council person that you mentioned, unfortunately, reflects the racial nature of our nation, which are unresolved.
Hey, Professor Davis, we appreciate you coming on. I know you're a busy guy.
Don, it's great speaking with you again, man. And listen, we're going to have to, if you ever get back here in Maryland, we're going to have to do brunch. But thanks so much for inviting me on your show.
Okay.
The best to you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
All right. Go ahead, Philip.
Am I on, Dennis, here?
You're on.
Am I on?
Yes.
Well, Professor Davis laid out what I consider to be, the Black intellectual thought on politics. But what I had put in the private chat is we got to go back to kind of explain how our system works. And that's why I felt like I had to come on for a second. Was like, we're going back and forth as if we are full participants in our electoral system, and we're not. That from the inception, Africans were not part of the system. They're only referred to as part of the count so that Southern states could have more votes. So that's where our citizenship starts, not as citizens. We're included in the first Constitution at all. We're in the second Constitution with the amendments, 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment. That normative to the first Constitution. So the citizenship that we received was not.
Philip, you're breaking up, like it's going in and out, and also you're not clear. So I don't.
Okay, can you hear me? How about now?
It's a little bit better.
Okay, I'm going to try not to go into the weeds and just keep it straight. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah. It's just
Hello?
it's kind of it's getting like I said, you're kind of going in and out.
You want me to go out and come back in?
Yeah, go out and come back in. That'll be better.
Okay, no worries.
Okay. All right, gas them up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dynast, shout out to you, shout out to everybody on the panel and people listening. Just wanted to quickly say, I ain't gonna be on too long. For me, look, I'm an outsider, right? I am in the country, but I just feel that when are Black people in America gonna realize, like, I think that's what Philip was hinting at, that historically, when you look at the legal system, it was never intended for Black people to be, a major part of the electorate, or for Black people to really have a say in the country. And then if you look at that, part, and now you bring it up to speed today, truth of the matter is, it's like the emperor has no clothes. As an outsider, there is no Black community. It doesn't exist. It's a fiction. It's an imagination. People don't like to hear it. I know they're going to say, well, Nigeria's problematic. I agree. Nigeria's a shithole. Got that out the way. But in this country, there is no Black community. And I just wanted to quickly say this, Dynast, and I'm not throwing shots at anybody, and I'll say it to anybody's face. If you come on these platforms asking people to remove their anonymity, you are an agent. You're probably a government agent. Everybody should be entitled to their privacy, to their right to privacy. It is a constitutional right. Stop coming on here trying to find out what somebody ate for chicken yesterday or whether their mother, kisses a dog. You should be more worried about where your dentist, what holes your dentist had his finger in before he puts his mouth.
Are you referring?
I'm referencing, to go Black, because he did that yesterday when I was supposed to be on his show. Then he comes on your show to continue that agent talk. And I'll say that it's ridiculous. You should be more worried about what fingers your dentist is putting holes in before your appointment than worried about somebody showing their face. If you don't like the message, ignore it. It's about the strength of the idea that's espoused. It shouldn't be a personal, because you worship on Sundays, I'm not gonna. That's ridiculous. That's childlike. That's childish, and it's silly. But I just want to put that out there. To me, people got to grow up and stop acting like babies. Everybody has a right to their privacy. But with the topic at hand, you guys have already seen. I remember when I was in university, I said that. I was like, wait a minute. I'm here with the Hispanic group. You guys never talk about Black issues, but when it's Black History Month or it's Black people on the campus, we always bring up the Hispanic issues. Where's the reciprocity? And everybody's like, oh no, don't talk about that. So at the end of the day, the game is the game. And the fact of the matter is, Black people or the Black community is a fiction. It doesn't exist. It might used to exist in the past. There might have been a Black community in the past, but as of today, it doesn't exist. And it can exist, but people have to have control. I think, Professor Lumumba, shout out to him, was talking about that yesterday, where he's like, you got to cut some people off. You got to start trimming the fat and removing people. But I'm going to yield the mic because what Philip was saying was excellent in terms of the legal precedence of Black people in America. But I'll stop talking.
Go ahead, Mr. Lindsay.
Thanks for having me back. I'm sorry. Am I better this time?
You are. Go ahead.
And I owe Gassim an apology. I'm sorry. On Friday, I couldn't come on. My wife, I had to go get dinner. So in any case, let me just keep it simple, man, and try to keep us focused on how we can get something done, right? Which is this. Number one, we need to understand that most of our Black politicians are there as an agent of Black mass movement containment, not empowerment. Do you understand what I mean by that? They are there to hold us in a certain position so that we don't have movements. What they don't want is someone like a Fannie Lou Hamer. Does anyone remember them? Fannie Lou Hamer?
There's a high school named for her in the Bronx. She was in the South, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was trying to get people to register to vote. She didn't have any children, right?
Correct.
She was married. Yeah. I remember watching a documentary. There's a big high school for her named in the Bronx.
Yeah, she was a Mississippi Freedom Party founder. She was beaten by police.
Yeah, and they removed her womb in the hospital. Yes,
correct.
Yeah, they removed her womb in the hospital.
And then in the '68 convention, she gets on TV trying to have the Mississippi Freedom Party seated rather than the Democratic delegates that were all Dixiecrats. And Johnson goes on television to block out her speech. Anybody that hasn't seen this, you got to go back and look. But what Fannie Lou Hamer represented was the Black, salt of the earth, grassroots movement politics, what was built during the civil rights of working class Blacks that were farm workers. Remember, we talked about this last time I was on, that farm workers and domestic workers are what gave Black people leverage in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. That's what allowed civil rights to happen. So what I want to get at is this. Our Constitution works in a certain way, which is the stakeholders, which used to be white landed gentry, dictate policy. In order for our country to work as a democracy, you have to have a middle class. And Black people, for the most part, don't represent that middle class. They represent the working class. The average earning for a Black household is $37,000. In any state in this country, that is not middle class. But we don't understand it because we have a flat screen TV, we have all these goods, but we are not the middle class. Now, why is this important? It's important because I've said to Dynast before, and I've said to Brandon before, Black liberal, Black conservative, it doesn't exist. What we have are Black nationalists like Dynast and Black Marxists. That's what we got. Those are the two choices. Both of the parties do not speak to Black interests and will not. Why? And I just looked it up. For the average Senate seat, it costs $15.7 million to get that Senate seat. Now, who in the chat or who on this panel, is donating the kind of money to get one senator elected? I know I'm not. So then if you aren't donating that kind of money, how much attention is your senator or your representative paying to your politics? Let me answer that. Zero. Not at all. So how is it that these other groups, like let's take Latinos, that's what the show is about. How are Latinos getting this kind of leverage? And I will tell you, because I lived in Mexico, the answer is that their diaspora in the United States, particularly in the West, and Mexico at the trade table work in tandem. So when something goes sideways for Mexico or Mexican Americans, Mexico at the trade table says, remember that Ford plant you wanted to put in Monterrey, Mexico? Well, maybe now it's not going to happen. Remember that money that you wanted to put in our banks down here? Well, we've had some second thoughts about it. And so it goes back and forth. This is how the Japanese got reparations. This is how every functioning group in this country is able to have leverage. This is why you don't see ads for Asians at the dojo, but you see, what is it, Dynasty, you like to joke about twerking to the polls and this kind of foolishness?
Yeah, Trump, no voting, no fucking.
Why does that not exist for Asians and they're a smaller group in this country? It's because they have leverage from their home countries that works with their people here. And why I support your show and Brandon's show and O'Shea and Go Black is because we got to work with our continent at the trade table. That's how we make it happen.
Let me ask you this. So Crypto
Yes,
Black
sir.
said the fault is on the Black nations. Who should be extending or reaching out to each? Who should initiate, I guess, the conversation? Because I keep hearing, Black Americans say, well, they ain't bring the ships to save us. So I'm being serious. So
yeah, brother, I get it.
Like me, I initiated it. No ego, no problem. Listen, best decision, one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. But you have other people that are like, they didn't bring slave ships to say, they didn't bring the ships to slave us when they knew. I mean, they didn't bring the ships to save us, the rescue boats to save us. Gas them up people didn't send ships to save us, knowing that we were over here for so long, getting our ass beat, so they don't love us. So how should this work?
Well, I like what you are doing. I like what Gas 'Em Up is doing. It's going to be a two-part thing because I don't want to go into the history of what happened in Africa per se, but we need economic interests aligning together. So you building businesses there, Dynas, you getting involved with real estate there, you having a Black consulting business to help people access the economics of Sierra Leone, Nigeria. Well, Gas 'Em Up, what he's doing in helping people set up businesses. Then the African countries from the ground up can help us. Oh, my man, Go Black, love it. So this is what we need. We need, oh my God, work stuff. Hold on. Okay, so bottom line is we need economic alignment, the stuff that Claude Anderson was talking about, but globally, so that it reaches up to the politicians. We have to understand how politics work. Politics does not start from the top down. It starts from the bottom up. This is what I was talking about Fannie Lou Hamer, that the parade is already going, and then the politicians run in front of the parade to say they were there all the time. So the answer is, Dynas, I don't want to be too wordy, is it's got to be small, it's got to be incubated, it's got to be thoughtful policy. Look, when I was doing work in Vietnam at 2001, Vietnam had a D, C minus bond rating. Now they have a B plus, A minus bond rating. They're making electric cars. How did that happen? They're a freaking communist country. How did that happen? It happened because they did a lot of small deals with small business people like Go Black, like Gas 'Em Up, like you, Dynas, and then the economy grew. This is how it has to go, is we need to incubate our small stuff here in Africa to build infrastructure, to build stuff. So I had brought up like the idea of the Titan, the Tryon, the Black-made supercar. That should be made in Nigeria. That should be made in Congo. Why? And the dealership should be here in the United States with a favoritism towards Black Americans owning that. And this kind of stuff of this random Mexican saying something in the LA City Council or this random Mexican. Look, I lived in Mexico. A lot of the Mexicans that live there don't even really consider those people Mexican completely. They call them pochos. Ask me. They do. They consider a Mexican on the outside, but not Mexican in the heart, particularly if they haven't been acclimated to Mexico. That doesn't mean they're not Mexican, but they're a different form of it. And the same thing with us. We are African, but we have a different story now. But the point is, Dynast, that's how you do it. You do it with small business investment that builds to big business investment that becomes multinational. Did I answer?
You answered it. You answered it. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button again. Please hit the like button that's from the chat room. Go ahead. Go Black. Go ahead.
What's up, man? What's up, panel? What's up? Yeah, I'm with Philip, man. Is that the leverage? We don't have a leverage. There is no leverage. What is the leverage going to be? I mean, we talk about trying to bring money together, trying to put, build these businesses and these manufacturing, whatever it may be, but we don't have anything to leverage on. Mexico, I mean, the Latinos, they may have some leverage because of a country,
Correct.
of a governmental body who's going to be the voice for them, versus, we aimlessly wander without representation. Washington, D.C. is taxation without representation. That's their say. But, for us, we have no representation. We're all in our own individual lanes trying to do the best that we can. And yet, we do have this unified idea of unifying, but it gets nowhere. And I will say that it is definitely a system that is in place to keep it from happening. And that, the system will, I wholeheartedly believe it. I've seen too many of groups, whether you want to start with the Black Panther Party back in the days, we can just go on and on. Marcus Garvey's and all of them who were trying to do things for a people, and yet you watch it be dismantled by the FBI, whether you get it dismantled by other systems of governments, or you got the so-called sellouts who are connected that bring these things down. I mean, it's amazing how the system really wants to fight to keep us as a whole from advancing, but give the idea that we are advancing. And the only thing that they can even say that I get tired of hearing our own people mention of any success, if it has to deal with sports. I mean, we are a thinking people with a mind beyond than just a physical capacity. We are people beyond than just in the entertainment industry. We sit on less than 1% of the so-called wealth in the Black community is in the entertainment industry. The rest, like Philip was saying, is like people are battling just to even try to get into a middle class. The poverty is ridiculous. So what do you do? What do you do when you have those who are in these institutions, corporations, you have these big businesses who are only going to allow you to get to a certain level? That's it. CEOs, how many CEOs do we have out there? How many really thriving companies are Black owned, banks, whatever, are Black owned, that are really making headway for those for many of us to go ahead and get money, loans, to go ahead and create these businesses, there's red tape and bureaucracy, and there's a line that is drawn in the sand to keep us from crossing. I wholeheartedly believe that. But there again, there's always options outside of America that you can always take advantage of. And this is what I'm going to continue to scream, is that though we may come over in Africa individually, there are many of us that are here doing things, whether it is at a small scale, at a medium scale, even at a large scale, that eventually, once things start hitting off and popping, is when everybody else is going to want to jump on board, and then it's going to be a little too late. And you know this, Dynast, by seeing that prices are increasing, things are getting more and more challenging to get at rates of what they were just a year ago. And so, land, property, I mean, as far as housing, all of these things are slowly creeping up because of the interest of what's happening. And people know, even America, that Washington Post just did an article on stating that many Black Americans are leaving America and going for Africa. It's a huge movement.
Blessings, Jay. Go ahead, Blessings.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say, great discussion as usual. I just want to add a quick point because Dynast and Go Black to Africa and several people on the panel that have ties to Africa have kept on bringing up the point of African Americans needing to divest, not just from investing like in America, but having assets in Africa. And you know, when somebody likes you and they're trying to put you on and they're telling you the truth over and over and over again, and there's all of this resistance, the only thing that's going to happen is, of course, the Black America is going to lose out. I am 27 years old. I came here when I was 10 years old. I've gone to college. I have the student loans. And I've just decided that I'm not interested in putting all of my eggs in this basket. When you look at what's going on in the country, you should be nervous. I think a lot of Black Americans really need to take seriously the opportunities that are abroad and to prioritize not just this perpetual loyalty. You know, I come from a culture of people where if something's not working where you are, you go somewhere else, you move, you invest in other places. That is intrinsic to Black people. And I just wanted to encourage people to take seriously what you guys are saying in terms of not just putting the eggs in this American basket. There's Europe, there's Africa, there's Latin America, and you really should take this seriously. That's all I have to say.
Can I say something, Dynast?
Go ahead, Issa. Go ahead.
First of all, it's nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you. I respect what Mr. Lindsay and Go Black said completely. But I wanted to touch on something that Gasnup said earlier. He mentioned Nigeria being a shithole, something like that. Now, I don't know where that came from.
No. He was being sarcastic.
He was being sarcastic.
Yeah, because whenever like whenever we like, I'm a Black American, I'm Nigerian and Sierra Leonean, but I'm a Black American.
Yeah.
And so whenever we criticize and we talk about the realities of what's going on in America, the first default is, well, what about Boko Haram? And it's just look, all right, I get it, but even outside of
that kind of those type of remarks shouldn't be made sarcastic, because right now is a lot of systemic racism going on in America. And what the lady said about, and what Go Black said about options, there are so many options outside of the country that we can tap into. But I don't want people to put, a lot of times people have been putting negative situations on Nigeria. And I wanted to touch on something, and maybe a little bit off topic, but I want to mention it anyway. Today on the news, on NBC Now News, which I listen to every morning, there was a report about Nigeria and scamming and stuff like that. And it really got to me because this stuff is not only going on there, it's going on everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It may be more rampant there, but it's everywhere. I got scammed from somebody out of Canada, out of Norway. I got scammed from there. Why the emphasis on one country in Africa? This country has one of the biggest business hubs in Africa. The most hardworking people are from Nigeria. And for somebody to come on here, even if they say it sarcastically, that Nigeria, we know Nigeria is a shithole, that is not something somebody should be saying. You should not say it at all. Whether it was a joke or it wasn't a joke, that's not something to say, because listen, I'm relocating there in the next 6 months. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? It took me a long time to make that decision. So I finally made that decision, but there's no way I can sit back and let people say things like that. I called the station, Dynast, this morning in New York. I called them and I asked to speak with someone there. They refused to talk to me, but they did take my number. They took my number and they took my comment and said that somebody will call me. I said, I'll gladly speak with somebody. They need to get their facts straight when they talk about countries like that. Don't always say bad thing about one country when the same thing is going on here. I can't even buy a house here. I don't even want to buy a house here because the prices are so high. You get a house, a three-bedroom house for $300,000 with no backyard, nothing. You know what I'm saying? And the house are poorly built here, very poorly built in my neighborhood right now. They are building over 500 houses in one area. And I'm telling you, Dynast, in 1 month, they have put up 20 houses already. What is that? I'm just saying, you know, it's just when people make statements like that, we need to be careful what we say. We need to watch what we say. There's a lot more to Nigeria than what people know, a whole lot more. And I've been studying that country for the last 3 years. I may not know a lot about it, but I know enough to want to move there. I even have an agent that I'm working with right now. I've been working with her for 6 months. I haven't done any transaction, not because I don't trust her, but because I want to be on ground before I do anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that we need to think before we speak. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Dynast.
So I listen, I get what you're saying, but I don't think it applies to me. I don't know you, you don't know me. You heard a snippet, and I don't think we should make a decision based on a snippet of a conversation. But I understand your opinion and I understand your position, so you know, it's no hard feelings. But I wanted to ask brother Philip a quick question, because I agree, right, in terms of, you know, using leverage from a base. But now here's the question: how do we make it practical, right? So it's like, for example, like I've been trying for the hardest to try to get, you know, like Nigerian jerky imported into the United States. But that's, man, it's such a tall order, you know. The rules and regulations. But these guys I go to Costco, I see people from Lithuania. Costco has contracts with Lithuania and all these other countries, and I'm like, man, how come you're not putting them through these same standards to import, you know, food and products, right? So, you know, some of the shiitake mushrooms, the dried mushrooms, for example, are coming straight from China. No one's complaining, right? The government has no beef with it. So I guess what I'm saying is that for me, on a practical level, right, to make it practical, to get that to happen, what you described, which I agree should happen, there has to be changes in terms of things like consumption, products that are consumed. There has to be demands to say, hey, listen, we want these type of raw materials to be sourced from this place and maybe assembled in the Caribbean before it's brought to Africa, right? These are the type of logistics that have to be planned and mapped out. And if there's no control, right, central control to say, hey, listen, look, like I know on the West Coast, which I've never been, but I know on the West Coast, there are a lot of Hispanic grocery stores that, you know, whether you are, like you said, those who are back home in Mexico are like, they're not one of us. But still, those people who are on the West Coast are still consuming products that are sourced from Mexico. So I'm saying, like, in order for that to happen, that Garvey's dream of that, you know, ocean liner has to be brought back to life, where raw materials, factories are being, you know, eco-friendly factories. Let me say that, by the way, because I'm not a fan of Africa developing and then just throwing factories in my village and poisoning my water supply so me and my 3 wives can be, you know, starving. No, I'm not a fan of that. But what I am saying is eco-friendly factories and things like that, so we can get those raw materials from Africa, probably assemble them in the Caribbean because they're closer to the United States, and then bring them to the African-American consumer, which is $1 trillion consumer market. That has to be mapped out. And you know, that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm trying to ask you, I guess, how do we make that a practical reality?
Gasma, brilliant question. And that is where our political fight needs to be. And having done some of this trade work previously, this is the core of the problem, at least in terms of getting supply lines up. I've had a couple of friends of mine that have tried to import things. As you said, I had I have a good friend from India that wanted to import rare stones from India, you know, diamonds, this kind of thing, emeralds. And the process by which trade for favorability is given is very political, my friend. Very, very political. Now, Dynas had a guy on. I haven't seen him in a while. I think he was out of Detroit or thereabouts.
Yeah. I got to bring him back on. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
That is the guy that you need to get hook up with Dynas.
Right. There's the program where you can import duty free that they have to set up with West Africa.
Can you
West
send that to me in the email or in the back channel, Dynasty, when you get a chance?
I'm trying to think of the name.
I'll send you an email to remind you. I'll send you an email to remind you, man, because I really would love to get access. Because I know a lot of people back home who have you ate Kilichi on one of your videos in Abuja. That stuff would sell. Yeah. That stuff would sell like hotcakes in the United States in every gas station. Don't steal my idea. No, I'm joking. Steal it, use it, and run with it if you can bring it to the U.S. But what I'm saying is that that's some of the difficulties. And of course, like you said, to navigate those political waterways, if you don't know anybody in Washington or your local, I've asked my local chamber of commerce. They have trade. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just because I have the name for it. It's Akinle Akayemi.
Right, but the program is called AGOA. AGOA.
Yeah, there you go, bro. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, gassed him up. I just wanted to give you the name while I was able to pull it up. Go ahead.
No, his name. You said his name is Akin.
Akinle, Akindele. That's his first name. Akinyemi.
Okay, perfect. I got it. So yeah, I was listening to your response. I was listening to I didn't mean to cut your wisdom.
No, man. I this is a team, and you guys are really more in it than I am. But I have done some of this work. Look, gas them up. For these kinds of transactions, you need a lot of money at stake. And something that Go Black was talking about is absolutely on point, which is the financing. Our biggest problem is we have to be able to scale a multinational. We don't really have that. We don't have a entity in Nigeria or Congo or whatever that can be placed in Inglewood to give loans and to scale. We don't have it. Now, part of the problem is currency, but part of the problem is what's at stake. The XM Bank, they don't get involved with small stuff. You can't get a sit down with a rep or a senator without a certain amount of money at stake. And that in part is because we don't have people at the trade table at the highest level federally that are able to leverage stuff for us. Why?
Philip, you are so right, because I've been tried to work with the Exim Bank with, because I there's a lot of companies like Atradius, Euler Hermes in terms of trade credit. And I was trying to, structure some things together to get some products from Nigeria. And like you said, man, when they started throwing these numbers out there, I said, really? I don't got, 20 million in capital to move,
No, brother, I did this work. And part of the reason why I stopped doing it is because I figured out, hey, I'm a middle-class guy. I can't risk federal prosecution over a $300 million deal. What am I going to do? Go to my folks and ask them to take out a loan? So
a GoFundMe, right?
Yeah. Well, some of the deals that I worked on, I was like, man, if this goes sideways, I'm in big trouble. I can't even hire an attorney to defend me. And like I said, where am I going to go to mom and dad and say, hey, can you take out this mortgage so I can get an attorney so I don't go to jail? But we have to understand where we are in the food chain. And I don't want to get too far from Dynas's topic, which was.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Let's get back on topic. But
yeah, I mean, we could have a separate show with your guy Akinle and Abube to talk about the money game, bro, because that's where our politics needs to be. We don't have a seat at the table politically. I just got, I hate to say it, but maybe lucky when I came out of law school that a buddy of mine had a connect. And so I got to do some of this trade stuff. But once I got to the table, I came to understand very quickly that our political system let me put it this way. I didn't have one member of the CDC, the Congressional Democratic Caucus or the Black Caucus that was trying to help me. Not at all. Not at all, man. And the reason why, it's not because they're bad people, but they need to raise, what did I say, $15 million to be able to stay in that Senate seat? Or, I said it was like something on the order of $35,000 a day or a week that they got to do for that representative seat. If Black people aren't donating at that level, then what loyalty do they have to you? How do they represent you? They don't, man, because you're not giving them any money. You're not helping them keep their job, which is their number one thing. Now, I agree with you and Brandon that we should negotiate with both parties, but we got to do it as a block. And let me tell you, that's going to be hard to do because at least 2/3 of us get our money from the Mzungus, indirectly or directly, including me. So, this is not an impossible thing, but we got to understand where we are in the game on the chessboard. And what it's going to have to be is, Dynast, exactly what you're doing on this channel and the real estate thing and the consulting thing. Go Black, what you're doing with the real estate thing. Gas him up with the trade thing. It's going to be a lot of small people that come together as a Voltron to do a big thing. And the advantage that we have here is that in the United States and the West, we have access to credit, which is a thing that in Africa is a bigger challenge. But maybe, like you say, it's a different show. But I wanted to get to the politics part of it. And we got to talk about two things. I put in the back chat. If you want to talk about this, we got to talk about the Powell memo, which was written by Lewis Powell, former Supreme Court Justice. He was the counsel to the, U.S. Commerce Department, not U.S. Commerce. I forget what the business one is that seems like it's part of the government, but it's not. But anyway, in 1972, they wrote a memo because they noticed, and I talked about this the last time I was on here, where I said Black civil rights was generated or supported by Black small family businesses. This is what supported and generated that movement, with some rich people, but mainly Black family-owned small businesses. In 1972, Lewis Powell writes this memo, the Powell memo, to say, look, I'm noticing that the country is going left. This is the Nader period. This is the Civil Rights period. This is when the Immigration Act is passed in 1965, Immigration Act, that they're not really feeling us anymore. And then they lay out in that memo, which I put it to you, it's the PDF of it right there, that of what they're going to do to unplug what had moved the country left. It's right there. At the same time, the Supreme Court rules on a case called Buckley versus Vallejo. And in that case, it says, it's a huge case, but in summary, that money equals speech. And what that does is it allows the corporations then to donate like a small donor. That in this case, it was wealthy people and wealthy people using their money to speak. This is later, there are several cases after it, most recently Citizens United, which allows you to give unlimited amounts of money into these PACs. And then the PACs can spend it to speak. Now, if you donate $35 a month or whatever to your local politician, how are you going up against the donations that you name the corporation is doing? You're not, brother. You're not even being heard. You're talking about billions versus, a couple $100. And this is why we sit here every election cycle going, I don't understand. Why aren't they paying attention to us? Don't they see our movements? Don't they see we're upset? Yeah, they see it, but they also see I got to stay in office. And this company and that company, I'm not going to piss them off because they are I can stay on the phone 365 days to try to fundraise from small donors, or I can take a couple of big checks. That's how it works.
Philip, can I ask you a quick question if you don't mind? And I just want you, my last question, quick question.
Yeah. And I got to bounce too. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to ask you this question. What do you think about, people, instead of using that money to donate to political parties, you create some sort of shareholder activism where it's like, look, we obviously realize that, like you said, corporations are now quote unquote people. So instead of the Black community organizing along the lines of politics to say, look, listen, let's start buying shares in companies that affect us most, that we consume from the most. We start buying shares, controlling interest in controlling blocks with a nonprofit, and we start, forcing them to make decisions in the boardroom. That, hey, what do you think about that?
I think that that's a good idea, but you know where I always start, gassing up? You got to convince the people in your own family. that if you can't convince your wife, and let me tell you, I don't win too many of those discussions. But if you can't convince your wife and your cousins and your mom and your dad and your siblings to do a shareholder activism, good luck convincing some black person that's not related to you. You got to start small within yourself, within your family. You got to save your family first. You want to improve your situation like the two young ladies that came on, you got to get your family a place in Africa, a place in outside the United States. Then from that and some success with that, then you can talk to your cousins. And from your cousins, then you can talk to black people that trust you, your friends, your colleagues, your friends from college, your godfathers, stuff like that. We got to start where we always started, which is within your own family, and make that strong. If you can make that strong, then you can scale. And then the other thing, and this is a whole other show, Dynast, because we were talking about politics, but you got to have a Boubet on here to talk about currency, brother, because this is the big thing. Vietnam was able to change its fortune within I was doing that in 2000, 2001, in 20 years, because now they can get bonds. We can't get bonds in any of these places. We have what should be happening is this. We should be setting up incubators in these various African countries and then setting up funds either through the government of that country or through small investors like Gas 'em Up or whatever, saying, I will let you buy a percentage of these small companies that are in the incubator, and making that into a fund. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's how you get the money to scale.
Yeah. All right, we'll go Black. Something you want to add, or back on topic, or whatever?
I was just I was trying to find the total amount of money that Marcus Garvey had got from brothers and sisters and contributing to the vision of purchasing, ships. But yeah, I mean, there is so much money in the Black community. It's ridiculous. And if, like Philip's saying, is that really trying to convince people to put their money towards a vision that can better the whole, I mean, good luck in trying to convince that. Because I think that so many people have a lack of knowledge in things like investing in bonds and, these type of things, that where most people start to feel a little pressure of finances, their financial pressures in their life, they would want to take that money out, and then, before you know it, before it even grows, it collapses. So I think it takes a lot of education, even before we talk about trying to have the power. We got to get educated beyond than just a school or college book. We got to understand economies. We got to understand, these investments in these businesses. We got to become a little bit more knowledgeable in areas beyond just what we think a house mortgage or a car loan brings. We definitely have to grow in those areas, because a lack of knowledge in areas, it's going to fold. It's just going to fold.
Dynast, I stay on mostly to basically get educated, because I've learned a lot from the two gentlemen here, and from Mr. Lindsay and Go Black. I've learned a lot, and like I was saying, I pretty much have tried everything I needed to try here, and I just made up my mind. I'm not gonna stress myself out trying to, I can't change the systemic racism here. I can't do that. So I think, for me, one of the things that I have done and been trying to do over the last 3 years is to get ready to make that transition, and I'm fully ready to do that. And I'm not gonna waste any more time, because time waits for no one. So I'm basically just really educated by listening to you two and just taking stuff in.
Let me say this too, Dynast, that when we look at you talking about Latinos are looking for power, or asking for, wanting that power, whether it's, the Mexico or what have you, here we are afraid to leave America, but other countries not afraid to leave their country, for better opportunities or what have you. And that's a leverage. We talked about how much money is sent back to Africa from those who left Africa, that are pouring into the continent, so you could leverage Africa. You most definitely can leverage Africa. And I tell people, it ain't got to be Africa. Mexico, South America. I mean, I've been to those countries, and you can save so much money and position yourself financially quicker than you would ever do in America. And so on a smaller scale, meaning you and your household, go into those ventures. Go into the small. Look, let's look into other areas. Like our sister is saying, she's going to go over to Nigeria. She's giving it a try, and I believe she's going to be successful because, she's successful already. And so my thing is that she's going to be taking with her the opportunity that is within her to give to Africa, and that's where we have to change the mindset. Nothing gives us the opportunity. We are the opportunity. America don't give you no opportunity. You're giving America your opportunity. That's why people say it's great, because you pour in your hard-earned energy, your blood, sweat, and tears into your job, that America is growing leaps and bounds in its wealth.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that, and I'm happy for Issa. She's found her path, and this is what has to happen. I just want to throw a couple of things, and I'm going to bounce. One is that you can buy a house almost anywhere in Mexico for $60,000, definitely for $100,000. If you are in Africa, and I've been looking at it, man, you can get a baller crib, something that would probably be millions of dollars here, for somewhere in the ballpark of about $130,000, $150,000. If you go a little bit lower than that, you're talking about maybe a apartment, a 2-3 bedroom condo, something like that. Now, I'm not the expert, you guys are, but I've been researching it because I think it's a good investment. And that's one of the reasons why I watch the channel. That with regards to the parties, Dynast, look, man, it's a money game. That was what I came on to say. And we got to understand it. If we want to understand where America is going, all you have to do is look at the former American colonies. Okay, goodbye, go black. I'm going to take off in a second too. That just look at the former American colonies and how they're going, because they have our Constitution. Look at Puerto Rico. Look at the Philippines. Look at Guam, Samoa. How are those countries functioning? They have the American Constitution. The reason why they are predictive is because they have no middle class. And so if they have no middle class with our Constitution, then the monopolies take over. And so if you want to see where we're going, just look at the other places that have our laws. It's not hard, and look how much it costs to be in office. That's the reality of it. Now, for some people, maybe that means they want to vote for X party or Y party. I personally don't try to tell people what they should do on that. What I do say is understand that regardless of who you vote for, they are there to contain you, not to support you. And the reason why is because you, as Black people, are an insurance policy for their economy. And what do I mean? You don't have any assets, and you consume almost everything that you get, usually within 24 hours, and about 2 cents remain in your community after you get paid. That's the reality. Now, we can change that, Dynast, with your help. We can start investing in Africa and put our money in a different way and stop buying Jordans and twerk into the polls, or what is this saucy? What is this stuff the saucy say? We can continue down that path, or we can do what Dynast is talking about and actually get some assets and maybe save our families. Now everybody can't do that. We will need people here that need that build family businesses like we had before. But we cannot have poor operations in those businesses. They have to actually serve the community. So I'm going to leave on that note. Donis, I love your show, man. Thank you for having me on, brother.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Let me bring Mashawn on. We got into Nigel. Go ahead, Mashawn. Well, go ahead to Mashawn. You've been waiting longer. Go ahead, Mashawn. Mashawn, unmute yourself.
Hello, yes, this is a serious topic, and there was so many issues that you spoke on. So
We lost her. Nigel, go ahead, Nigel.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and greetings to everyone on the panel, chat, and the viewers. As she was saying, I think the topic was a good one, and a lot of people, their contributions were really, really good. I liked what Go Black was talking about, the leverage, and I also understand where Gas Them Up was coming from when he said African American they don't have a community or something like that. And there's a lot of great contributions about how to do business with the Caribbean. They said I almost went out because I thought what's the point of my being here even. Okay, so but for my own take, I felt you were a little bit easy on the doctor. Because what I find this type of people irritating a little bit because they are, like you said, they are like the cream of the community, isn't it? And this is the result we have from it. And they seem to come across as easygoing, too comfortable with the current state of affairs when they shouldn't be. Because we are in a state where, like you said, the topic clearly states it now that the Latinos are thinking that the community doesn't crave power. Because at the end, this is why whenever I come here, I keep talking about it. It's power. This game, it's a game of power from the beginning from the top to the bottom. And I'm glad that's why this topic is very, very interesting. For me, if they want to do this, the continent is the base. And as a matter of fact, the continent is the backup of the Western economy. This is the whole reason for the issue that they are right now. They are not fighting China because China is just selling them cheaper iPhones. They are fighting China because they see that China is going to Africa to go and do business in their backyard. The people that they are exploited. And I've said this before, African Americans need to use that continent as their launch pad to strengthen themselves. And the continent should also get Americans up. Like, instead of lobbying the American government directly to say, okay, give us reparation and stuff like that, you could go to the African Union and say, back us. Because if you have 20, 40, 50 nations backing the reparation movement, believe you me, the UN will be hearing about it every single year, and the impact is a lot further. So even Italy is asking Germany for reparation today. So there are so many ways we can benefit from the climate, not the climate, the earth itself, the fact that we have spread all over the world and we are not tapping into all those advantages. The African American, from what I see, they seem to be very separate from the Caribbean people, politically, diplomatically, in terms of business. They don't relate to them at all. And the same thing from the Caribbean to the Brazilians and the Africans. If we just start coming together and start finding ways to work together, you're going to see that most of all these trends will start changing, and you will have all these people that keep talking nonsense about us. It will start, going back. The other day, I think just yesterday, I was having a discussion, and I asked a very, very triggering question. That whether I don't want to ask it because people are going to get triggered about it, but it was a very, very serious question, and people find it funny. Because when I look at the way we behave, it appears as if we just sit there and wait for people to take advantage of us. And this is why when I see any elites, I really try to hold their feet to the fire. Because you can't sit there and tell us that Joe Biden is calling our people, telling them to hell with you all, or whatever he was saying, and you come here because he knows us and all the rest. No, it's not because he knows us, it's because he sees that we don't have anything to offer. We are not coming as a block to make him pay for it. This type of stuff is not if they see that we are organized, and if they don't want to give us anything, so what? They are not giving us anything anyway. Go. Then we go and do our own thing. This is the world we live in, and it doesn't owe us a living. Fight for ourselves, no matter what happens. The continent is the base. I take it that anybody that wants to do anything that really, if America wants to, the African Americans, I mean, if they really want to do well, they have to tap into the continent. That is you know, other groups don't even have that resource. What a resource, place of riches. What a massive continent. They should be tapping into that. And that is what I was expecting to ask that professor. What is the agenda of our community? What are we going to do? What is our demand in terms of politics before we lend support to any group? Because if you have those demands, believe me, I know the African American community enough. They will be they'll be able to make it work. Because if the Democrats refuse to give them something, you see that those women that are backing them right now, they will turn on them. They are organized enough to know if the community has an agenda, but they don't. And this is why Gazemov said what he said. Even I know that of course they have a community. You guys have your churches. You guys have the way you meet. So, but I just believe that there has to be an agenda, and I keep saying it every time I come here. I tell you, when I look at the African American community, I don't see any plan. You have a defense secretary, you have UN this thing ambassador, you have vice president, all that stuff, but I don't see anything that you are using it to do. It's like we have all these people, but that's the end of it. While Asians are getting stuff from the country, even Hispanics are getting something from the country now. What are we getting in all this stuff that is going on the continent? Instead, they are messy. The continent is being messed up now, worse than when Trump was in office. That is how bad it is. It's being messed up now, worse than it was before. And nobody is calling this government out.
You can't tell anybody that. I mean, people on the left, you can't tell them that. Well, some people have realized that, but some people, they continue to make excuses.
Just awful. What this guy is going about doing, he's going to countries one by one and sending US troops all over the place into African countries so that they don't have their own this independent judgment about trade, about investment, and maybe even about the diaspora. These people go into the continent and tell our leaders what they should do. And they are the reason why you don't see our leaders come to the America and say, you know what, we know we did some things to you people. We should be apologizing. We should be welcoming people home. We should be inviting people to come and do business. We should be doing all those things. Why do you think they don't do it? They all come to the UN assembly every year to come and have their meetings, but they pretend as if they don't see African Americans at all. They pretend as if they don't see they just run back home because that is what they are being told. And you asked the question earlier on that who should reach out first. I think that our leaders are so cowardly. I don't know whether it's African American that should reach out first, whether it's the diaspora that should reach out first, because our leaders are just too cowardly. In the case of Nigeria, you know now, if it was a northerner that is in office, is far less likely to do that. But if someone like Peter Obi gets into office now, he's more of a Westerner, he's a Christian, and he understands the diaspora more. He's more likely to reach out. And that's why if somebody wants to push an agenda and say, you know what, this is the time to get into Nigeria, you will see that you are going to have a lot of opportunities then. So I just hope that African Americans are watching. There are a lot of advantages that they have, and you guys have access to capital. Like, you know, I think Go Black to Africa said, your people have a lot of gifts. Don't think you are in a sorry state. You are not in a sorry state. You have a lot of power that has not been tapped into at all. And this is why I feel like you let that guy get away with it. Not be letting your elites get away with it. They are the ones that put you people to sleep. I do that in Nigeria too. I don't yes, sometimes I make a fool of myself, but I don't care. Because what is going on, you shouldn't care anymore. You call yourself a doctor, look at the result we have. What are you using to build our community to make us so that we can now start actually owning industries? What industry do we control? We don't control anything in this world. These are the kind of things you should be tapping into, because I believe African Americans can do a lot of good in the community if they just tap into their power. They have a lot, they just need to see it and start seizing it. And I will finish with this one. The guys, all the speakers that came here today, a lot of them contributed very, very, very powerfully. From what I gather, they were talking about all the things that they need to do. The question is, why are they the ones talking about it? Why are we not reaching out to all the bigger, like richer ones in America to have these conversations with them? Because I don't think their ears are out. Diners, have you ever tried to reach out to powerful African Americans?
They don't care to Nigel. I mean, they don't care.
They don't
They're
care
not gonna
about the
listen.
community.
They're not gonna listen. They don't care. It's like talking to the wind.
Yeah, Tunaj, you know that, Tunaj. Like you
Yeah,
know that.
it's like talking to the wind. They're not gonna listen. You know what I'm saying? We can talk until we blue in the face. They're not gonna listen. It's just like another story to them, like another number.
But they must have an argument. Okay, like Serena Williams now went to Nigeria and invested in fintech and in technology. So have an argument to say, okay, why they don't want to get involved? Because they can just say no. If they say no, do they not go to churches in the community? Do they not? Some of them relate to other members of the community. You call them out. What is NAACP doing?
Dude, Tunaj, it's done. Okay, it's a wrap. Like Tunaj, you're not. I mean, you're not reinventing the wheel, Tunaj.
Seriously? What is your explanation that they don't care? What is your explanation for why they don't care?
It doesn't matter at this point.
So all we have now is gas them up, you and a few others. That is all we have. There has to be this, because I can see a lot. I see a lot of African Americans that are doing well. I refuse to believe that they don't care about their own community at all. I really refuse to believe that. And I hope I'm wrong.
Tunaj, they only care about what, for the most part, like Kanye West has been saying. People hate Kanye West, but he's been on point. They only care about what white liberal media tells them to care about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Maybe they do. I don't know what. See, I've seen a lot of big guys. Like I think there was one guy that was into tech. I think was it IC. He invested in some guy that was in tech. An African American that was in tech, and they were doing some things. So there are people. I feel like there are people on the ground. I'm not in the country, so I don't know how the community fully functions. But this is a community that created Malcolm X, that created Martin Luther, this thing King, and all the other leaders. I refuse to believe nobody cares. They have they have to be there, and I hope that somebody reaches out and something, because something needs to happen. We can't remain like this.
It's not that they don't care. The fact is, there's such a thing, like I said before, called systemic racism. It's there. So when people try, they just kind of, it's not like, they don't want to do it anymore. They just accept things as they are and then keep it moving, So everybody.
No. Like I said, they just, again, they have their handlers, and their handlers tell them what they can speak about, what they can speak out on. And
yeah.
That's what it is, too, Nigel.
They don't need to speak. They just need to give you their money, or create a structure that is going to have these things function.
They're only going to give their money into what their handlers approve.
What?
When you say
What
handlers,
is this
what
handler
do you
thing
mean,
even?
Agnes? When you say handlers, what do you mean?
They're advisors, they're handlers, they're
Okay.
the people they talk to, the people that they consult. They all have these groups, and they only give to what they decide on.
Okay,
So these handlers, are they like financial advisors, or they are more like control freaks?
It's a little bit of everybody tonight. You're trying to overcomplicate it now. It's done. Okay, it's done. It's done.
I don't understand it, but I will accept what you are saying. I refuse to accept that the community that created and all.
Okay, hold on. I want to. Okay, Black. Hold on, Michael Jordan, call in. See, you're completely off topic. I'm very aware of Black grassroots organizations, but again, LeBron James ain't giving to your ass. Okay, Oprah Winfrey ain't giving to you. All right, Michael Jordan ain't giving to you. All right, it's just and then now. Let me tell you how BLM ruined it. Okay, so we had the opportunity to take advantage of this George Floyd sympathy. White folks feel sorry. I'll be honest. Here in America, white folks feel sorry for us. through what happened, what they saw with George Floyd, and they was giving away money. BLM ruined it. Infighting, where the $90 million going. This side is suing this side. It's done. It's done. And even before, and BLM was funded all for the most part, top to bottom, by white liberals. They were guilty. It was white guilt, and they gave BLM money because black folks ain't donate to black folks' organizations or issues, and that's what I'm trying to tell you to, Nigel. That's what you don't
Okay,
understand.
but why don't we carry out an experiment then? Because right now I'm also carrying out an experiment on the Nigerian end, where you it and say, okay, this is the agenda, this is what we need to do, and is vetted and make sure that it's solid, and you reach out to the African Americans in your country and try to approach them. Let's see out of 10 what any of them takes and their reasons, because it's important people know why something is not right here. They don't just care. Carry out their experiment. Let's see what happens. Because I won't be surprised one of them bites.
And to be honest, to Nigel, I don't blame them for not. I mean, now, like the direction the black community is going in, I don't blame them for not giving back to their community. I don't blame them.
Why do you say that? What have they done?
I mean,
You are one of them,
Look, but look at the community. Like we're making. So, are you familiar with the PNB rock situation?
No.
Okay, so it was a black rapper who was sitting down in a black-owned business, right, with his family. Another black family comes in and kills him, murders him, and takes his jewelry, right?
Yep.
Let me tell you what the response was. What were you doing on that side of town? So basically, they're saying successful black people with money
should not
don't come back to the hood.
Yeah.
Don't come back.
Yeah.
Why are you coming back?
Stupid.
That was their response. What was this guy doing on that side of town? So you're trying to tell me, as a successful black man, I can't come back, wear my jewelry, drive my nice car in my own community without fear of being robbed? Fuck the community. Excuse my language.
Yeah, but you see, but that's why they themselves have to make the community safe, though. You are powerful.
These folks want dysfunction. They want to gang bang. They want to be in the hood. They want no vote, no bucking. It's done. Tunaja is done. It just will have like-minded people, like-minded communities. It's finished. And then those people will reach out to each other and will help each, like the Simple Links Academy said. If you're successful and you're black and you go back to the community and you just got nice shit, you're a target in your own community. So why fucking go back? And like I used to be on that, go back to the hood, go back and support the hood, go back. Why I ain't going back? But it's just they want a gangbang, be dysfunctional and make excuses, blame the white man for everything. And that's what they want to do.
I guess it's the shape of the success. You see what I'm saying? Because some people are successful, but it's not impacting the community's ability to determine their fate. That is what the problem is. If they are successful in areas that makes them really influential in the country, then you can say, okay, yeah. It doesn't, you see, because all communities have their people that are not as well off or as polished as the elites. But the important thing is the elites that are powerful, that are rich, they really need to control power. That is what this topic is about. That is what that lady, whoever she was, that's what she's addressing.
Tonight, it's done. It's done. It's done. I don't know why you don't get
what you are saying. What you are saying is what triggers me to ask the question: are we a slave race? Because what you are saying is done. That is what you are implying.
Nigel, I just, you don't understand, like the conversations I have online with these people. So the argument is, so these Hispanic, and listen, I lived in LA. Like, listen, LA, liberal, la la land, Democratic ran, top to bottom. Black population is shrinking. All right. Black population is only like 8 or 9%. Then LA has the highest homeless population. The black in America, the black population is 8 to 9%, but make up 34% of the homeless population. And it's getting worse. The Hispanic community now is almost half the population, and I think they make up like 42% of the homeless. So it's just these numbers, And then we make up the largest amount of the prison system down there.
Yeah.
But when you call that shit out to the and again, I'm just saying vote Republican because you ain't got. I'm just saying vote Republican because you ain't got nothing to lose. Just see what happens. Like just throw
we should carry out an experiment. There has to be an experiment.
And just see what happens. You ain't got like Trump said, what y'all got to lose. And Trump went through all the figures and said, what y'all got to lose? I'll give y'all 500 billion. What's up? He said he didn't. Again, what do you have to lose? Shit's only getting worse. But you can't tell these people that.
From what you are saying now, how are they going to do it if there is no agenda? Somebody has to come in together and say, you know what, this is what we want from Republicans.
It's done.
How do they? Well, you are saying they should vote for Republicans. How are they supposed to tell what they want?
It ain't gonna hurt. Why not? See what happens.
No, I agree with you, but you have to have something, a demand to the Republicans. What is the demand? What are you going to ask? Are they the ones that are going to tell you what they are going to give you? You have to have your demands to the Republicans. Say, this is what we want. We want you to fund so and so business.
No. Hold on. To Nigel, let me back up for a second. People did that. So you had Kanye, you had Jim Brown, you had Steve Harvey, Donald Trump had the black up and coming. He had like a summit for black up and coming people in the community. Donald Trump invited. He had all the black presidents of the HBCUs, and if you listen to what they said, whatever they asked for, Trump gave it to them. Everything, the prison reform, everything. Exactly. But again, you had Roland Martin, black folks, because the majority of them listen to CNN and MSNBC. They were shaming them and calling them coons for going to talk to the president.
They should keep that agenda in, change it, or if they want to change it, let them change it. But they should keep the agenda in place and they should remain there because there's going to be another election. Then they should go again because sooner or later people are going to break through.
Our people are gone. They're going to vote for the same people, not demand anything. They're going to come out. These white race soldiers are going to show up to y'all community. And start lynching you guys.
If African American community vote for this in Democrats again, I will lose my I will lose my mind.
But that's let me read the super chat. Don't go to the hood dressed that way, no matter the race. Listen, see, this is what I'm talking about. Tell me where the white community is telling other successful white people don't come to the community. I mean, tell me the race of other people who are telling their people don't come to the community. I mean, we only do this shit in the black community. We only do. That's why it's a wrap. My guy, stop to throw the people away. We can't try to fix us. No one will. We're trying to fix y'all, but y'all don't want it. Black people don't want it. You had John Henry Clark. You had Amos Wilson. You had like I said, you had Ice Cube. The black community as a collective said no. So I mean, it's a waste of time.
Brand diners cannot an experiment. Let's see whether this is for real. Whether African Americans will not help their communities.
Go ahead, Missy Bar. We gotta move on. Go ahead, Missy Bar. Go ahead.
Greetings to everyone. Alafia to every one of us, right? Every time you come up with this topic, brother Amir.
Missy Bar, if I could say one thing, I'm so sorry. Somebody brought up a great point. The black community, the black hood, is the only hood on the planet that tells people you got to check in. Do these black thugs tell I don't know, name a white artist. Do they tell them they got to check in when they come to LA or Atlanta or New York? Do these black gang members tell Justin Bieber that he got to check in? We do this shit to each other. We only do this to each other. You got to check in. You got to check in. But again, we make excuses. We defend this type of dysfunctional behavior. And then Latinos are taking power. I mean, and guess what? Good for them. Good for the Latinos in LA for taking power. Because Negroes are too busy talking about you need to check in when Latinos are like, listen, We got to get these black folks out of. Listen, we got to run a Democratic Party.
Yeah.
We got to get these black folks out of here. I'm just saying, name the white artist that you ever heard of that black folks in LA said this white guy got to check into us if we show up to LA. It doesn't exist. Go ahead, Missy Barr.
What you're saying is not just only important, it's the fact that when an individual white person show up in the black community, black people make sure that person doesn't get harmed, right? And we don't have the same type of respect for each other, not to kill each other. We're killing each other in a way that we can't kill a cow or kill a cat or kill a rat. That is so disrespectful in so many levels, right? Anyway, I don't know where we go wrong or what we need to do right that we're not doing right. And I don't know what is such a surprise that Joe Biden hates black people with an absolute passion. And if he can enslave us again, he will do it with absolute no problem. Here is a man that his own household is in disarray, right? And is coming out in public blaming black people for everything that goes wrong, hence all the 3 strike and everything that we end up with, right? So I am not sure why black people still feel the need to follow Joe Biden, right? Everything that Joe Biden said when he was about to be nominated should have been good enough for black people to say, to hell with you and your dementia self. And we didn't do that. Instead, we vote. Well, I didn't vote for him, but nonetheless, the last time I voted for American president was Obama. That was at the time that I myself thought a black man, this man is going to do great things. And the moment he started calling black people all manners of names, I was done. That was it. I turned him out. I was done with it. So, black people will eventually get the point. The only thing that I'm thinking about that I know personally is by the time we get the point, it might already be too late. Now, let me see if I can give you guys 2 solutions, right? The number one solution for Black America, the Black in America, and all Black people is to start a Black-owned insurance company, car insurance company. The car insurance company, if you have something like that, direct all the money towards you. You can then use that money to build the community. If you so choose, you can diversify within that money. You now have leverage, because each of us, some of us are paying $400 in car insurance, right? It depends on the community you live in. In Baltimore, there are people that are paying $500 a month. If you have Black-owned insurance company, it can start from all Black the university or all the groups. Somebody like Tariq Nasheed that was complaining, those are the things that they need to put forward. Now you have money within the community. Instead of saying that you don't have money, have your own Black insurance company, have your own Black life insurance company. Let those type of money that goes outside to the white community comes to you. From there, you can build your own school. You can build your own system. Number one. Number two, the devil is a liar that Black Americans saying that they don't want to work with Africa. You need the backing of a nation. You have 54 countries that should support you. For as long as you are out here saying they're booty scratcher, they sell you off, while in the meantime, you are in a system that's still abusing you every day. White folks don't have intention of giving you reparation. They will eventually do it. But the only way they will do it is if you're working with other African countries, right? That you have the backing of a nation behind you, they will be forced to treat you better until such time that everybody can get what they want. But for as long as you are out here, just like white folks are watching Black Americans here, so are the rest of the world. They see what you're doing. If what you are doing is what Santana did, what kind of nonsense is that? Look at what you are portraying to international affairs.
Sister Barr, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
There's black people who have been in Africa for hundreds of years. Black people from America. There's black people in Africa from America in the large numbers. We've been going to Africa for the longest time, right? It just seems that I think that things get lost in translation among the Pan Africanists and the Africans on the ground, where we never took this thing called infrastructure, education, and stuff like that seriously. Okay, if everything is emotion, we need to get together. We have to have a reason to get together.
Exactly.
If I'm a Nigerian billionaire, right? Right? Why? What? And I got to make strategic alliances to basically fill the gap if Russia, if there's a embargo of Russian oil, right? I don't have time to sit down to talk to black people in America who don't want to basically vote for the right people, who don't want to basically take over the state governments and state stuff like this, and or take over their pension funds that they got billions of dollars of access to. That so if black people in America don't want to get their stuff together, what exactly are they bringing to the table when it comes to Africans? Because what I'm seeing right now is if black people in America do not take this path, I laid it down with the BIO years ago, right? And I said this years ago, 30 years in the making. I said, we don't take this seriously, right? The Africans are going to come here in America, and they're going to get the bag, they're going to get the connections, and then black America will be cut off from Africa and be irrelevant.
What you're
That's the
saying,
future.
Mhm.
Because we
What
don't
you're
have any
saying,
community right now. Because all this right here, what we see with this political stuff, is an abomination. It's an
that,
abomination.
that
It
it
basically
was
shows
so
that they don't really care
disrespectful.
about us. Go ahead, sister.
That was so disrespectful. When we're talking about real issue, right? We're talking about international affairs. You have supposedly a black looking
If I could say something, please.
coming out looking like that. The devil is a liar. We have to start. Give me a second, brother. Some of our behavior, just because somebody offer you money, you need to know what that is. What do you have to do for that money, right? For you to come out and disrespect, you cannot tell me that young man does not know what this is about. He knows. He knows that it's rubbish in not just the face of black American, it's rubbish in the face of all black people around the world. That one act represent all black people around the world. And black America needs to know that sometimes when Africans don't want to get involved in some of this behavior, it is because of this. And besides the constant killing, everybody always say, don't we have Boko Haram? Don't we have this? Don't we have that? Yes, we do. And it is the same people that are disturbing you here, is the same people that are causing chaos over there. And the reason why we keep saying that, ultimately, black people have to work together, whether you like it or not, with one voice. Just because I call you what do you call what is the Akata, which we're saying is the same meaning with Black Panther, and we keep saying it, but nobody wants to believe it. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether I like you or not. It doesn't matter whether you love me or not. But do I respect you? Do I respect myself? Because if I respect myself, I have to respect you. That young man does not respect himself, let alone to respect black people to come out looking like that. When men are being men going to war, black men are dropping their pants, putting on a freaking skirt. These things affect us all. I will let somebody pick it up, but we got work to do.
Hoods up. Go ahead, 34. Hoods up, 34.
I wanted to I'm getting a lot of echo, but I caught up on a lot of stuff. First of all, I want to say peace to the platform, peace to the chat. Thank you for having me. The reason why I'm here because I found this topic very interesting. I talk a lot about this on on my podcast. But what I really want to say is, Mr. Prince, what you said, you hit the nail on the button. It's done. The little hope that I had for our people in America, I feel like it's diminishing very slowly. Look what I just found out, or look what we just found out about Black Lives Matter and having this all of this money and ain't even give nothing back to the poor communities, but they out here buying mansions and stuff like that. What belief should I have? What leadership do we have to grab onto. Every leader that these little kids try to grab onto, whether it's a rapper, whether it's an actor, they wind up dying from a bullet or drugs.
I guess he can't. I guess he can't hear me. No, but what I was trying to say. So I was listening to a live stream with Masson, I think his name is Masson, and 19 Keys. And Masson was basically saying, hey man, y'all got it twisted. Black Lives Matter. The purpose wasn't really to build up the black community. Y'all got it twisted. It was just to kind of spread awareness. Black Lives Matter. It was about the hashtag. And then he was just on, and he was basically after that saying, now listen, people became millionaires from Black Lives Matter and a billionaire from Black Lives Matter. But thinking that we were supposed to be in the community, building stuff for the community, we wasn't about that. It was just the hashtag, just Black Lives Matter, and we getting our ass kicked by the police. What you're saying. That's what he said. I was like, wow, but okay, hey, okay. That's what he was saying. He said, y'all got it twisted. It was just to let y'all know that black folks is getting their ass beat by police. And thank you for the money. Shit, we already knew. But go ahead, Hoods up 34K.
All I want to say is this, man. Yo, I love this channel, bro, because you got people from the motherland up here, man. And I always had a bunch of questions to just, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube, about Africa. And, what I want to say is my question to my African people is this. Do Africans hate Black Americans? Because I had a topic like this on a show, and the answer was yes. But hearing somebody from the motherland, can you please elaborate on that more?
Of course not. Of course not, right?
That's ridiculous.
Let me tell you.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset. There's no hate there. It's just a mindset people have.
To hate another black person is to hate yourself, period. You may not like their behavior. You may not like what somebody do. For example, we're talking about this young man, Santana. I don't hate him. His behavior is deplorable. But to hate him is to hate myself. What do I need to hate him for? He didn't do nothing to me. He just rubbish an entire...
But we can't hate him, though. We can't hate him because he's being disrespectful.
But you see, I understand what... I don't even understand what he did, because it takes a lot to understand that, because I can never understand destroying my own race, right? I don't hate him. Hopefully, he will change his behavior. But anytime, what I expect black men to do is to put on their pants and put a belt on it. Wherever you are on the planet. Don't be a bitch to any system, right? That's what I'm saying. And I want a black woman to behave like a woman, stop behaving like a man, right? Because you cannot take the role of a man. Your position is that of a mother. Is that of a wife and daughter. It can never be the position of a man. We are already, in this country, they have flipped everything. And it's going to take a lot to take it back. And if we keep saying there is no wealth, there is no way, there's a lot of wealth in this black community and also in Africa as well. It's where our money goes. It's where our wealth goes, because everybody wants to buy the product from the very people that hate us, right? The sister is talking about the homes, $300,000 home. It's just woods. There is nothing to it. They are destroying the planet to build those homes. And then when those homes caught fires, 10, 15 people die at once. How's that progressive? How's that progressive? Where if a home burns in Nigeria, even if somebody dies in their home, the entire, it's hard pressed where you have 200 people, 300 people die at once in a home, right? Because a lot of their homes is built by block. They destroy ecosystem in order to build their homes here, and now they are transporting that mentality to the rest of the world. Everything that America try to export is always something that is not good for everybody else, right? Just like asking you about homosexuality, their human right. You're asking for the human right of a very small, minute people over the rest, billions of people. What do I give a shit about all that? What does that concern me? I need to eat. I need my children to eat. I need my family to eat. I need them to live a good life. We need a good health system, right? We need schools to educate our children. We need school to educate society. We need farming. But they're asking you about what you do in your bedroom. American single focus is always about your bedroom, what is under the black man's underwear. That is their single focus, nothing else. And they will constantly direct your mind. Look at that young man. What is he talking about? He's talking about sex. That is it. We're talking about international affairs that affect 7 billion people, and we don't have black people sitting at the table. They're making decisions about the entire planet. They made a decision about shutting the world, and they made that decision without us being on the planet, without us having their say in it. And for the people that wants to go and fight for reparation next year, it's good to go, but you might want to redirect that energy actually, and also go to the embassy, have a conversation with them. What are they doing to support you? Take your platform to them. Start working, start going to 2 ways. Start your own insurance company, start your own banking company, 100% bank. All your payroll should go towards that bank. For example, if you say, we have all black, that when you born your child, every single black person, here's your own insurance company. You get your car insurance here, you get your house insurance here, you get your mortgages. Within that umbrella, you already remove a large part of the money out of the system. Under one umbrella, we have enough educators in this country, enough black people educated that can say, let's do these things. Once you're doing that, if you want to elect anybody into Senate all the way to the presidency, you have enough wealth within you to do that. But I'm saying, take that wealth and start building and start making. You can stop a lot of this policing brutality. You can stop.
We heard this a million times every day.
Like that.
Now, doing it is another
let's
thing.
hold on. What's it called? Let's pass it to Wendy. Then we pass it back to you. Go ahead, Wendy.
Hey, Sister Ibarra, I really agree with a lot of stuff you're saying, and everybody else actually that's been on the panel. And I just have like two quick points that I'd like to make. One is that I think we seem to spend a lot of time criticizing each other. We seem to spend a lot of time finding the rifts between each other. We don't spend half as much time trying to come together, and we don't make our disputes something that we discuss kind of in-house. We put it out on YouTube. We put it out we do it. And if you want to know the big difference between us and the Latinos and us and the Jews and us and other people who seem to be able to accomplish more as a group, as a unit, that's the big thing. We find reasons to not come together rather than finding reasons to come together. We spend so much time on that. Sometimes I get on YouTube and I want to cry because I go from one to the other and somebody's attacking somebody else. Somebody's attacking somebody else and attacking them in ways that to me almost feel personal. It's not just like even if, Sister Ibarra just spoke right now. I can say I don't like what she said because I don't agree with this, without making it seem like a personal attack on her and she's a bad person in some way or another. We can have disputes. We don't have to be nasty to each other. And I hope we don't feel that way. I hope, I think somebody, I don't know, it was Carl or somebody said, yeah, we should hate somebody. No, we shouldn't be hating other people. We can decide that somebody.
I was just kidding, but let me ask you a question. What about Wendy? Let me say this.
I'll finish.
Well, let Carla let her finish.
I'll finish quickly and I'll let you, respond. But so my thing is that that's the way I just feel. I feel as if we spend way too much time. That's the first thing. We spend way too much time finding ways to be apart rather than together. And in regards to, the politics, we always talk about politics, and I kind of look at the way we are right now and some of the things that people say about Democrats versus Republicans. And I think about it the same way I think about like what's going on in a lot of countries right now in Africa in terms of shifting from looking to the West to looking to the East to looking to Russia. Because there are a lot of countries right now that are saying, we don't like the way France is treating us. We don't like the way the United States has been treating us. We're tired of it. But instead of finding a different paradigm and saying this whole system where we look outside of ourselves for our salvation, we need to set that aside and find another paradigm to work in. They're looking instead to say, okay, we're gonna have, Russia be our new best friend, rather than we're gonna rely on Russia to help us develop, and we're gonna have Russia do all. No, that's not what we should be doing. We spent like 100 years figuring out that people from outside of Africa have nothing good for Africa in mind, one way or another. If we think that Russia's going to be different, and it's the same thing with the Democrats and Republicans in America. Exactly. What we really need to be doing is coming together as a bloc and making sure that whoever expresses the issues that we need in our community, that's who we vote for, and that's who we hold accountable. I agree with the people who are talking right now about not having leaders. We don't have effective leadership right now. We just don't. But what we need to do, I mean, I don't know. I'm looking for a leader, but in the meantime, I'm just trying to be as effective as I can be as an individual.
You be the leader.
My analysis, in terms of the analysis of what I do and the message.
I think we all should be leaders, man.
Yes, I agree with you.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I was saying when you made a comment about me saying, "Hey," I'm like this. If somebody's gonna basically mock us, mock black manhood, mock us, and sexualize us, there, why shouldn't they feel some of that heat? That's the problem with us in our community. We're too loving, we're too forgiving, and we save our hate.
Colin, I don't mind that. And when people talk about cancel culture, I don't really believe in cancel culture if I understand it correctly. What I understand it to be is that people get upset when somebody says something and there's a reaction, and the reaction is
no. Here's a problem here. Nobody, the community is being attacked. You know what I'm saying? And when we lash out at these self-defense times, we're defending ourselves. No one. This is what I'm sick and tired of. People come at us, right? We want your vote, and they try to shame you and tone police you and virtue signal you and shame you for voting and doing something a certain way that we had nothing to gain. And then they tell you you're not going to gain from it, but we're going to bully you and shame you and punk you and this. And so therefore, we're only human. Your natural reaction is anger and hatred. So it's all right to hate this guy. This guy made himself a target. Yeah, he should be hated. Hate is a human emotion.
I think we should hate him, but I do agree that we should let him
know. No. Hate is a good thing. I think black people. I think our community ought to start doing more. We should learn more hate. Learn to hate more. We should learn to hate more.
Learn to hate more. Wow.
We should learn to hate more. Yeah.
Explain that more.
But we need to learn.
Okay. Do you think?
Let Wendy respond. Go ahead, Wendy.
What I just wanted to say that we need to. I agree with you 100%. Like I agree that people who come out and say things that are ridiculous, that are actually harmful to the community, and like people who come out and repeatedly say, like I think we need to do some what do you call social media cancelization of Candace Owens. I don't like a lot of what she says. I think what she says is wrong. I think a lot of it is based on ignorance. Some of it is based on her getting paid, I believe. And
let me ask you this: Wendy, what do you disagree with Candace Owens?
Candace said most recently she said, "Let's just be honest," or something like that. She said, "Colonization was a net positive because Africa didn't have anything, and it was so far behind."
Oh yeah, okay, I
don't. If she comes out and she says, "I don't like Cardi B," that's fine. If she says it, but when she's speaking purely out of ignorance, she needs to be corrected. Okay, so that's my thing. But we just need to figure. Right now, I just want us to not. So I think my message is, let's think outside of the box. Let's not think about, okay, if we don't like Democrats, then we need to be Republican, because that's not necessarily a solution.
But that's dangerous to think outside the box, right? Because the thinking outside the box meaning you standing by yourself trying to get people to think like you. The few people that think like you know what I'm saying, our voices, like this channel, for example, right? We talking so loud that our voices is not being heard long enough. Candace, whatever her name is, because I don't like the lady, but this lady just spew when she opened her mouth. She spews negativity and confusion. And the sad thing is, she has the same color skin, just like me and you. But you see, when we talking good messages like this, good medicine like this, we get blackballed, and I think that's sad, very sad.
Yeah, and she's speaking out of ignorance, just like Wendy said. She needs to be corrected. Period. I mean, it's just something that we cannot let slide. She has to be corrected. You can't you can't speak like that and expect people not to say anything.
Well, everyone forgive me. I'm going to step away. Brother Amir, good show as usual. I pray that the universe will continue to give all of us our enlightenment. I believe we're going to make it. I'm not going to give up like that. I mean, that
Thank you,
scares me
sister.
to death just to give up. I can't give. My people are too beautiful to give up. We are good people. Even the one that are not agreeing with us, eventually they will come to your idea, Mr. Carla, brother Amir. They will come to, you know how it is, your parents, you're asking your child not to do bad things and they're doing it. Eventually, if you live long enough, they will say, Dad, Mom, you're actually right. I did that with my dad. I was lucky enough to tell my dad that he was right about Democrat all along. So he told me in 1999, he said, Democrat and Republican, they are family. They're never going to change. And he said that the fight between black and white is never going to change. It's going to be forever. And if you understand generics, then you understand what is meant. So let's do us, leave everybody else alone. Do you. Stay blessed, everyone.
All right, let's see. We'll bring Brandon on, then we'll close out. Experience Liberia. Go ahead and we'll pass it to Brandon, then we'll close out. Go ahead, Experience Liberia.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it. Like I was putting in the comments, when you look at this thing's running really deep, and we have to go back and not just look at how we was enslaved, but we got to think about the process on how they built this country and what they put in place to keep us where we are. Now I have a question. What happened? Because we know we have educated people that knows what's going on, but somewhere along the line we got silence. When you look at the Harlem Renaissance, when you go back to the Black Panthers, the Black Power movement, there was a sense of unity, there was a sense of love. We could work together. Yeah, we had issues amongst each other, but we stood tall and we made that happen. What changed? That's the question you got to look at. How did we get to where we at now? And the people that we have in place, not to take nothing from them, but what are you really doing for the people? They push this agenda, and we have to look at the social construct and how they got it. We are the power machine. No matter how you cut and slice it, we are the power. We was the backbone during the slavery, all of that. And we still the backbone and the power today. We're the number one consumers, and yet and still we don't have anything really to show besides the one that have slipped through the crack and recognized and volunteered to play the game. They got into it, they understand the system, and they playing the game, and they're only thinking about themselves. And when I say themselves is for the benefit of their family. They have made it and they're doing well and they're taking care of their families besides their loved ones. But to go out there to reach the community, they're not doing it. Look at the leaders that was actually out there on the front line. What happened? Where's the support? We haven't had strong leaders like that in a long time. I think the last one, what people may not agree with me, or they're still around, is Louis Farrakhan. So when you look at this, you got to understand that in order to shift the paradigm, and I keep saying it, you got to study your damn enemy. How is it that everybody else can come in and get a leg up? It was put that way. And I can reveal a lot of stuff, but when you go back and you look at that damn we the people, and I'm going to get in trouble for this, and I know a lot of people be talking about that with this foundational Black American and ADOS, let me clear the air. The stuff that we be saying is very, very, in some cases, they got some facts behind it, but they don't have all the facts, because now you have to look at the origin of man. We're all smart enough to know that migration took effect. If we believe, we all Black Pan-Africanism and believing in the Black movement, we already know that we was the first man on the planet, and we moved.
Asiatic Black man, yeah.
So you can look at the history that they have tried to hide. They tried to whitewash it. But we got to look at the simple fact is that we was that. Whether we was Moors, we was the original. Whether we was Muslim, we was the original. Whether we was Christian, we was the original. We're still the same person with a different ideology, with a different view. But we can come together as a collective and say, hey, all right, I got it. This is where you're going. But what can we do as collectively as a group, as a whole? That is our power. That's always been our power. And this is what has separated us. And this is why we have the buffoonery, the coonery, all of this stuff that's going on. Once we can set aside our own personal beliefs and not get emotional, but understand how was it built? How did they build this on our backs? We gave them the knowledge. We gave them the information. They didn't have it. If we do the research and we look, it's a lot of things that's been put in place to keep us down. And they'll show us, they'll throw us a chip or throw us a bone and let us, oh, well, look at this person. He made it. He's doing this. But why don't that person?
That's an excuse now. 2022. They did all this stuff to put us down. It's 2022. It's an excuse.
No. But here's the thing. It's 2022. But you think about those that has money. Why are they not trying to fix the situation? Originally, I'm from Chicago. Think about this. You had Oprah and you had Michael Jordan, the two most powerful people in Chicago during that time. And the school system, in the urban school system, was like shit. No books.
Come on, brother.
No, listen. I'm just being real because a lot of people they talk about a lot of things, but they don't know. Because here's the thing:
it's not their job. I mean, to be honest, it's not their job. It's not their job.
True. Okay, if it's not their job, right? Here's the thing: I understand that point of view that you're coming from, but you still must give back. And I'm not saying they're not giving back, but they choose to align themselves with an agenda that's going to benefit their situation because they're not going to do it. But you have to understand, you didn't get there by your damn self. Oprah didn't build that damn network on her own. She came from Tennessee, and her audience was black back in when she was on Channel 9, WGN, during the 80s, during the 70s, during that time frame when I was there. I know what her audience was built on. When you look at it, it is transgressing. I got it. It's a movement. And it's a time where you go through and you go with where the money's at. But you can't forget. You can't forget where you came from. You can't turn a blind eye to the problem that's going on in America. It's a slap in the damn face that they know the atrocity they have committed against us, but yet and still, when it's time for us to talk about reparations or anything of that nature, you have to look. If you can find money for Ukraine, you can give the anti-Asian bill out, you can do something better for us. So you must ask yourself about the politicians.
We know that, but we don't want it. So it's just.
And so it goes back to the mindset, Dynast. It goes back to the mindset. We have to go back to where we lost our way of being unified. That's the key. Unification. You got everybody that's out here doing this thing, they don't know how to come together and to work for a goal for the greater good. They doing it in their communities. You don't think that Asian got crime going on in their community? You don't think that the Latinos, the Italian Jews,
not on the level of black people?
And why is that? That's a question to you. Why is that? Why is our level different than theirs?
Because we got a demonic spirit in us, and we just don't see we don't see the humanity in each other.
Not a demonic spirit. I don't see that.
I just think there's a certain segment in black society that just has a greedy, demonic spirit.
But where did that come from? See what I'm saying? It got to go deeper than that. Where did it come from? And then how did it switch? Because you see, they taught us back in slavery, when they had slavery going on, okay, I'm going to pit you against the tall, the black, the fat, the skinny, the light skin, the black skin. And then it switched to black power, unity. We sticking together. Where did it go? Then it transformed. So so what it's telling me is that we're easily just sway when they put somebody in place to take us out from where we're going.
Why does it always have to be black people got tricked, black people got duped, black people got hoodwinked, black people got bamboozled, somebody else put the banana in the tailpipe. They got us with the sliding hand. It was none of those things. Black people had two choices and chose what they wanted to do over what was best to do. That's it. Black. Wait a minute. I didn't interrupt you.
No,
I
yes,
didn't
you
interrupt
did.
you. No,
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you
I
did.
waited
Yes,
for
you
you to
did.
stop talking. But
Yes,
okay. All right.
yes,
So
you
let me
did.
shut up and you can keep going.
But since you interject and you put that in, right? Now I'm going to tell you from a military standpoint, it's called conditioning. It's called to inculcate a belief on a people. I did this for 2 years, transforming soldiers coming in to be when I was a drill sergeant. So you can condition a person to forget their values and to adopt and pick up another one. And if you keep them brainwashed with the propaganda and those that do not know how to read and educate themselves, now I'm transferring to our people that do not know how to look at politics, look at what's really going on in America and how we are, they're going to continue to be conditioned. Because the only thing that we know from our hood is to look at an athlete or a dope dealer or an actor or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I want.
Let me
Yes.
let me just say this, man. No, they didn't. White people
Okay.
didn't teach you to do anything. Black people taught you that. Your dad told you, "Hey, Michael Jordan's the best player ever. You gonna be like Jordan. Let's go down to the basketball court and get on the back." No white man told you, "Hey, bro."
So where did he? So where did he get it from? So where did he get it from? Where did he get it from?
He got it from seeing
From
Michael
family
Jordan.
values. From
He
family
got,
values.
listen, he got it from watching Dr. J and them on TV, watching them make a lot of money for playing basketball. And he wants to make a lot of money. And if he can't, he want his son to do it. The white man didn't tell us that the white man did not tell us to take our children to neglect STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and go to the football field.
All right, watch this, brother. Let me just say this. Hold on. Let me just say this right fast. Let me say this.
Listen, you didn't
All right, you
listen
see,
when the guy
you said
when the guy-
brainwash, right?
when the guy-
Now, what are we all holding in our hands right now?
Brother, when the
Either
guy
we on our phones
wait a minute,
or we
brother.
on our laptops, right? Now, it's a strange world out there. Now, for adults, we got it together. We know right from wrong, right? But these kids are the future. So when they got these phones in their hand, you know what they're looking at? They're looking at these women walking around with nothing on, shaking their life away in their butt, thinking that's where it's at, or getting breast implants, right?
One mic.
But I got a point, but go ahead. Go ahead.
It's my turn. That's the first problem. Black men don't know when to shut up and wait their turn. That ain't the white man ain't making you do that. You're doing that.
But I had a point. I wasn't finished. But go ahead, brother.
It wasn't your turn. You got a point. We all got a point, but it's not your turn. That's how I know that if a black man actually tried to build with you, soon as you don't agree, you're gonna start.
Brandon, let's get back to the point. Like what you're saying. Don't need to lecture. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm not gonna make the lecture. The lecture's been made. All you hear is a bunch of excuse making from top to bottom, the oldest generation with the gray in their beard, all the way to the younger generation, because everybody wants to always use an excuse to justify why they did something that went against their own best interest, right? Somebody who smoked crack can be like, well, I smoked crack because my childhood. No, there are people who have the same childhood as you who never picked up a crack pipe. You smoke crack because you made a decision to try it and then begin to abuse it. And the thing that you're blaming it on the abuse is your childhood, your upbringing, all this stuff. But what you're really doing is you're using that as a justification for doing something that you know is destroying you. We got people up here. The brother brought up Minister Louis Farrakhan. Minister Louis Farrakhan is an absolute crook and liar and thief who teaches black hate, teaches black people to hate themselves. This guy is saying that's one of our best leaders. That tells me that this person has no situation.
I never said that. I never said that.
Let me finish.
I never said he was the best leader.
Listen, these people our older generations have took the wrong route. They followed the wrong people. We followed preachers, pastors, religious leaders. The economic minds, we didn't follow them. We didn't follow Reginald Lewis. We didn't follow Thomas Sowell. We didn't follow anybody who was teaching the stuff we needed to know so that we can compete in this thing economically. And then we wonder why we have no economic frame of reference when it comes to politics or just being social or living in this system. We follow "we shall overcome" spiritualist, and we got exactly what that gives you: a bunch of religious beliefs, dubious spiritual understandings and concepts, and no economics. That's why we are where we are. It has nothing to do with white men.
All right, let's pass to the Hoods Up 34K because I want to close out. All right, Hoods Up 34K, go ahead.
All right, what now, what I want to say is this, brother. All right, that where we at right now, all we need right now is to put the tension on these kids. Tighten down.
It's like a lot of background noise. I don't know if you're on a speaker or I hear babies yelling. Like there's a lot going on in the background.
All right, go ahead. I'm good now. I'm sorry.
I got a question from Brandon.
No, Hoods Up 34K. Go ahead first. Do a passive experience Liberia.
All I'm saying is this. Let's put the tension on these kids, right? Because we could talk about all the things we did in the past and what happened to us. But what about now? How can we create a solution for right now? That's the question.
Yep, that's why I was saying that they actually need to start carrying out direct action.
This is why you
and see, Brandon. Okay, let me just say my piece on this one. A lot of people have contributed quality solutions earlier on. I think Brandon missed that. Part of it is, people coming together and forming blocks and, doing business with the continent. Personally, I think that they really need to tap into the billionaire class and the millionaire class in the African American community. Of course, businessmen are busy. They are focused. That's why they are rich. They are focused on their business that they are doing in America. But somebody needs to go and, shake this thing and something is going to come out. I think there should be an experiment that should be carried out publicly so that we understand what the true issue is, because we can keep talking here and we say the African American community is not working.
What experiment?
The experiment.
We already know what's going on.
No. Hold on.
No. So it's made clear. So you get names of wealthy African Americans and that are involved in various trades. Then you reach out to them and say you have to have a credible plan for the continent, something you want to do on the continent or with the Caribbean or something. You say, this is what we want to do, and we are going to use it to feed back to the community in America, and would you sponsor it? You see what I mean? You have to create a credible one.
The answer unequivocally is going to be no.
Yeah, but it will be good. Because sometimes when you say this, people don't believe you. I find it hard to believe you.
Hold on, Nigel. You had the plan. I will back you up. You start reaching out to the people, I will be there with you. But it's the plan is on you.
He ain't about to do it.
Okay, I'll create a plan. I will create a plan. I will create a plan.
Nigel, do you have a job?
I don't have a job, Brandon. Why do you have to embarrass me like this? This is, this is not an embarrassing question. It's not very helpful, Brandon.
Question. Do you have a job?
What? I don't have a job.
Okay, let's pretend like you got a job, right?
No, but hold on, Brandon. 1 second. Nigel. So every week we'll check in with you, Nigel, to see the progress of this. Because like I said, since you brought it up, you're adamant about it. Every week we'll check in with you, to see the progress on.
I will create a plan. I will create a plan.
Okay. Create it, initiate it, make the first email or phone call.
What do you mean I initiate it? I'm a Nigerian. How am I? They will think I'm a Nigerian prince. You should initiate it. I'm in America. I'm in the UK. I can't do it in America, but I will create it. Okay, fine. I will do it. Since Brandon is there wimping away.
Dynast, I have to run. It was nice meeting you. Okay.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Brandon. We'll close.
Did God mute you, Nigel? Listen, Dynast. Okay, we got a lot of work to do, right? if you got a job, when one of these people like Two Niger got a job for the white man, right? When they got to get up in the morning and go to work, do you hear them? Do you think they sitting up talking about the history of slavery and oh, we was brainwashed and all this shit? No, they get up, they put their clothes on, brush their teeth, wash their face, get their bag, and they go to work. That is the problem with black people. When you want a black person to do anything, to avoid from doing it, to keep from having to actually do it, we start making a bunch of excuses. And that's what you have when you get in these spaces and you get in these conversations, old or young, a bunch of excuses. Because, Dynas, America has a lot of opportunity for everybody. You got black people who didn't work 30 years, got a 401k, got all types of money in the bank, talking about, oh, slavery, the white man held me back, this and this and that. Okay, the white man held you back to the tune of $2 million in your savings so you can retire, a 401k, medical coverage, all this stuff. No one's holding us back, Dynas. We're just making excuses to justify not wanting to move forward. That's it. That is.
But you can argue that Diana is making excuses to by saying we are done. We are done. That's in a kind of statement that says don't do anything, paralysis, inaction. Because if you say you are done, it means I don't have to do anything, isn't it?
Dynas, can I address something real quick?
But to Nigel, I want you to lead. Listen, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and I want you to prove me wrong. I want you to be the leader, be the man when it comes to this outreach that you're talking about. And I will back you by it. But we're gonna make you the committee head of that.
Okay, I would devise something. So people are already laughing at me that I've taken more than I can chew. But,
I'm dead serious.
No. Some of the chat. Oh, I will do it. I will do my best because I would rather be doing something than just be talking.
Can Experience Liberia ask me his question before we go, Dynas?
Go ahead, Experience Liberia. Go ahead.
First and foremost, right? I respect Brandon. I watch his show. I support him. And the thing about Brandon throw little digs, like the gray in the beard and all that stuff. First and foremost, don't let the gray in the beard fool.
I also have gray in my beard.
Okay, I know, but you still made a shout out. You gave a dig. But anyway, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. I'm talking about how did we get here. That's all I'm saying. The process of what happened. I'm not saying that it's not that that's the only reason we're making excuses or anything like. I'm just saying that's condition of the mindset of some of our people, and you bring it out with the statement that you made. It's like when you teach your father teach you, but some of this stuff is passed down, and people don't think about it. When you got people that's in the hood, and I heard you say this several times that they have been there generation after generation off of welfare. So it's very few that comes from that. So why is it that a lot more is not coming from that? It has to do with the mindset. It has to do with what they was taught. It has to be for them to see something different and understand that I do have a way out. But if you don't have that, like we did, like when I was growing up, and like from Dynas and all that stuff, the more you are exposed to, the more you have a different look. Because just like traveling, you have a lot of people that have never been outside of the continental U.S., let alone left their own state, haven't even traveled more than 5 states in the United States. So their perspective on life is very narrow and very slim. So my question is, like you were saying, it's brainwashing. Let me ask you, have you ever read the Willie Lynch letters? That's my question to you, Brandon.
Yes, I've read them.
Okay. Do you think that it worked? For the slave owners, for the slave masters that had it, you don't think it worked?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
The reason I know Willie Lynch, one, if he even existed, the reason I know Willie Lynch letters didn't work is because the people who came out of slavery directly following the authoring of the Willie Lynch letters did not share the mindset we have today. So basically Willie Lynch letter then grew legs, jumped clear over a whole 3-4 generations of black people and landed in the 1970s. That's not how that works. Those people were working together, prospering, group economics, working together. How are the people who came 100 years after the Willie Lynch letter, claiming the Willie Lynch letter making them do what they do, when the people who came 5 years after the Willie Lynch letter didn't even do the stuff we doing right now? Correlation, but definitely not causation.
Okay. So now my question would be is, why is the self-hate? Why the self-hate amongst our community?
There's no self-hate in the Black community in the sense that we're saying it. The only thing in the Black community that is happening is you have strong people, degenerates who are willing to use violence, preying on people who are unwilling to use it. That doesn't really have nothing to do with self-hate, because that exists in all communities. The only thing what happens is we perpetuate that behavior by making excuses for it. If Black people said, look, if you murder somebody in the Black community, you're getting the death penalty, and stuck to it, that would greatly reduce the amount of murder for any reason in the Black community. But we don't do that. We say, oh, Pookie killed Ray Ray. Yeah, that's because the Willie Lynch letters. That's because of programming by the white man and slavery and all these excuses, bro. It's not. It's because it is indirectly condoned in our neighborhood. That person knows he can have a bunch of people who sympathize with him based on a bunch of excuses that we've been reading like a script since the 1960s.
Okay,
Everything's white man's fault.
So I have another question for you. So was it, and you may know this or you may not know this, was it a memorandum signed by the U.S. government to infiltrate all Black organizations and to keep us from trying to connect during the civil rights movement with the apartheid movement of that? Are you aware of that? Did that happen?
I'm aware of that, but let me just say this. Even though you had the COINTELPRO, the memorandums, right? Did that stop Reginald Lewis from creating $1 billion company? Did that stop Bob Johnson from creating $1 billion company? Did that stop Robert Smith from becoming the first Black billionaire? No, it did not. So what it's more about, brother, is what we are trying to do. Not just that the white man is trying to disrupt what we're trying to do. Brother, if you got a country and you got an entity in there talking about we gonna do a revolution and overthrow this and overthrow that, isn't it common sense that you would do everything it takes to undermine that entity so before they can gain enough strength to challenge you? That's natural, that's normal human behavior. But when Black people were focused on economics and things that would actually help our people, white people did not interfere in any real way. And then, just like they didn't really interfere with the Asians, they didn't really interfere with the Mexicans. Listen, when we tried to coerce white people into doing shit they didn't want to do, we always ran into a problem. When we just sat in America and competed economically like everyone else, look at the brothers who chose to do that versus the brothers who chose to pick up guns and put on black leather. What was the outcome? Significantly better.
They didn't do that in Tulsa. And a lot of Black Wall Streets, they didn't do that. They got terrorized.
And guess what we did? We built it back.
And where's it at now?
It ended up getting sold off like we sold off everything else. Did they undermine?
And why did we sell out? See, this is the thing. Why did we sell out? This is just building points. I'm just asking questions. So why did we sell out?
Some people sold off because they wanted to get the money. Some people sold off because that was the best business decision. And the example I want to use is the Negro Leagues, right? Negro Leagues could have kept going, could have kept getting the best talent, and they could have competed with Major League Baseball. But guess what? When all your players want nothing more than to go play in the bigs with the white people, it's hard for you to maintain a baseball league. So what happened, what hurt us more than Tulsa or anything else, was our desire for white acceptance. Martin Luther King and people like him, they came through and they struck a more deadly blow against our people than any white man ever could, because they taught our people that in order to be happy, we needed to be granted access to white spaces. And that had more of a destructive impact on our people than anything Willie Lynch ever wrote. And there's no arguing that.
Now I can agree with that. When we desegregated, you know what I'm saying, that was the downfall of our black economics. It really was. And like you said, yes, we do have the Robert Johnsons and all of that, and and kudos to those guys. They did it. But that's very slim to the numbers that we have that's out here still in poverty.
But
And the
why would we?
mindset is bad. And the
But why
mindset
would
is
we?
bad. This
But
is
why
the
were
thing
we
we're
talking
talking
about?
about. Well, hold, I let you speak. See, you say that all the time. You say that all the time. That's another one. You do that, but you cut people off and you interject. Let me finish. So when you look at that and you look at us and the group that we're trying to come together and get their minds right, we're not able to do it for some strange reason. For some strange reason, you got all the Latinos coming together, you got the Asians coming together, they can make things work. And I don't think it's the simple fact, it's just people, it nothing to do with the Willie Lynch letters. I'm just saying that has some part of the mindset, but it's now people are not concerned about a group. They're
Can
more
I tell you
concerned
why?
about themselves. They're more
Can I tell
concerned
you
about
why?
themselves. Yes,
I'll
please.
tell you why. Because we spent, Dynasty, you can attest this, and I know you got to go. We spent more time talking about Emmett Smith than Robert Smith. Your daddy didn't say you're gonna be like Robert Smith when you grow up. He said you're gonna be like Emmett Smith. Go hit the gridiron. And maybe you did make it to the NFL, but then maybe you got hurt or you just didn't have the desire anymore, and you made millions, and then you quit, and you didn't have the proper economic skills. No one in your family had the knowledge, and you squandered your money in 1 or 2 years after you got out of the NFL. We didn't say, our parents didn't say you're gonna be like Reginald Lewis, right? They were like, you gonna be like Ray Lewis. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what hurt us more than anything the white man did. We did not look to the people who had the type of success that benefits our people as a whole. We looked at the people who had acquired individual success and really did not have the economic skills to maintain that in turn their earnings into economic success. That's all that is. It's all about who you follow versus what someone else is doing to you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like African American community, they have quite a lot of successful people, but remember there are intermittent interruptions that often happen because they fear the community, because you are quite sizable population. It's not like the Jewish population, so they have this interruption because you actually compete with them. You compete with Italians, like I think in New York, and so they come after you because of it. You are behind enemy lines,
Thank you,
you
Dynasty.
tend to lose that competition. So I don't think that African American never competed. They did compete. It's just that it's just a difficult thing to do without having a base. And this is what the Jews experienced over and over again. They became successful. They keep getting knocked back over and over again until now they have Israel. And anybody that wants to knock them back will have Israel to contend with. Hence, this doesn't happen again. And I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So that is what it is. People are analyzing it when they say African American community, they hate each other, or they are a stress group. Lock anybody in a room and not give them the resources that they need, even if they are some of the nicest people. You start. This is why a stress group. The moment you start fixing the disparities and the problems that they are facing them, all this stuff, all this hating, with self-hating stuff will go away. That's what I think is going on there. So I don't think all the will come and start making like it's a hopeless situation. It's because things are bad. The ones that have the insight to fixing things shouldn't wait for the ones that are doubting. Like me, I'm not waiting for people that are doubting. I want to actually start doing things. So that's what I say. Anyone that's hearing this, do stuff. Actually, if you do the things that are going to create the change, because the ones that are going to create that change are going to lead the way. Like in Black Panther, the Jabari tribe, they didn't join anything until they fight. It's always going to be people that want to hang behind. Leave them. The ones that want to go ahead should just go ahead. Thank you.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But
everyone, thank you
thank
so
you.
much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, down. It's Search for Uhuru. Peace.